It's crazy because when I was a kid, people called me Jeso Cameso. So
You know what? Cheers to that.
in a world, in worlds coming together right now.
It's incredible.
Jeso Cameso. Money.
You know what?
You're such an idiot.
I'm Lauren Lakeberg, the disc golf photographer, and you're listening to Unstable Discourse.
On.
Stay.
On.
Stay.
On.
Bull.
On.
Stay.
On.
Bull. Stay.
On.
Stay. Bull.
On.
Stay. Bull.
On.
Stay. Bull.
On.
Stay. Bull.
Holy shit, are those talking frogs?
Oh, welcome in to episode 2 of season 2 of Unstable Discourse.
Yeah, boy.
Yo.
It's the crew. It's me, Alex of Disc Golf Chicago. It's Ryan Fancher of Unstable Disc Golf Gear.
Yes, sir.
Sean Callahan of Delwood Disc Golf.
You know it.
Jason Callahan of Bag of Tricks. You also know it. And we have Brandon Wright of Werk Force Brewing Company.
What?
This is a special episode, guys. We are, for the very first time, not at the world famous Delwood Disc Golf Shop in Lockport, Illinois. We are actually on site at the Werk Force Brewing Company. Brandon, how do you describe the area? What is this room or this area that we're in? What is this called?
This would be the dungeon.
We're in the dungeon.
That
explains why my ass hurts so much.
We're just in the back of the production brewery. We've got a lot of storage back here, kegs, cans, a lot of bourbon barrels behind us. Big walk-in cooler. Yeah, this is where part of that production takes place.
There are a gang of barrels on racks. It looks super badass. I don't know quite what I'm looking at, but I'm just impressed.
Right. It's important, I think.
What do we call these giant drums, or what are these big metal?
That's our savings account. They're bourbon barrels. They're 53-gallon barrels, mainly from Willett Distillery, Buffalo Trace. We've got Weller, which is a Buffalo Trace product. They're weeded. And I think maybe a few Woodford Reserve in there too.
Damn.
They're all filled with Imperial Stout.
There's a lot going on here. You guys, actually, the other cool part of this episode is that we actually have a photographer. The disc golf photographer, Lauren Lakeberg, is here with us getting some photos.
Standing eerily directly behind me.
Yep. And so you guys are going to be able to see what is actually happening while we record, which is not something we usually do.
No.
So
Right.
That's super cool.
Well, while we're out and about, we need to record.
Normally, it's just when we remember to take photos of each other
Right.
Yeah.
while we're
Right.
recording.
which happens once every 4 episodes.
Correct.
Right.
But we're also joined by Ryan, not the Kino, but a Kino.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Ryan is here getting videos while we're doing this. So there's going to be a couple things for you guys to check out after this episode.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to Lauren and thank you to Ryan for helping us to document this experience.
Media.
And everyone has pulled me aside at some point and said, "Oh my God, what about the noise in here? You're going to lose your shit. Can we actually record in there?" And I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
I
Guys,
still
I'm fine.
can't tell if Ryan's just faking it really well or if he's actually cool.
I'm faking it until I hear it back in my studio, and then I will be like, okay, it's great. Or I'll be like,
It's trash.
Michael.
Yeah.
Start over.
Well, the handful of edibles he took 30 minutes ago was probably
Right.
helping the situation.
Yeah.
Did you take edibles?
yeah. No.
No, you didn't.
No, absolutely not. No.
That is, I
But
actually
now
have
everyone thinks that he did.
Yeah.
I have some in my backpack to kind of celebrate at the end of the episode.
Okay.
But I'd rather not do that before we record.
Yeah, I did. And now I'm worried that we can't get out because there's a dragon in the way. So,
Well, there you
Damn,
have it.
son.
but continue.
We're at the brewery. Ryan's on edibles. It's going to be a good time.
No.
The name of this episode is Work Hard, Play Hard. I think you can figure out where that comes from. We're going to be talking about Brandon's unique journey from being a hardcore disc golfer to being a disc dealer to getting into brewing to becoming sort of an icon in the craft brewing community. We're gonna talk about that stuff. And
Spoiler alert,
yeah,
disc golfers like beer.
Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
don't know,
weird.
I don't
Crazy.
know where that comes from, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Written in the stars.
You know who I'm already thinking is going to love this is Noel.
Oh, Noel Meekma?
Noel Meekma is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we have to make sure that he.
He's probably gonna be listening to this with a really special glass and some really special beer in it.
He has
And-
one the moment his last putt
Yeah.
hits the basket on 18. He's got a
He
chalice
pulls
of
a
beer,
chalice
Yes.
out of his pocket.
glass.
Yeah.
No idea where
I
it comes
feel like
from.
I'd get along really well with
You
You
this
would
would.
like Noel
Yeah.
Meekma
You
quite a
would.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
And he
two
plays
big
in
pals.
sandals. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And gets
You're
away with
always
it.
welcome at
Sandals,
Werk
Jamaica?
Force.
yeah.
All right, guys.
We love you, Noel.
I know this is an unusual episode, but we're not going to change things up too much on you. It all starts with Fired Up.
I had no idea where it was going. I was like, "Where are we going?
Isn't that
We're starting
Ryan
high,
said
or are we
that
going to
that's
go
how
low?
you
I don't
sing.
know."
Ryan said that that's how you sing all the time.
No,
There's just
Yeah.
well,
Falsetto.
That's how you whistle.
No,
I
there-
know.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I whistle in the same
one
note.
tone of
yeah,
whistle.
Yeah.
yeah, to Mr. Big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a treat.
yeah.
I'm the one who wants to be with you.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
That's how but in a whistle.
Yeah.
It's not how it is. He's full of shit. He's on edibles. Don't trust him.
Sean, what are you fired up about?
So I just got back from what felt like a 2-month vacation. It was actually only 12 days down in Phoenix, Arizona, hanging out with a friend of Sheila and I's and going hiking. And then we went to All-Star Weekend, DGPT. And then we drove up to Vegas and I got to see the Hoover Dam and we watched all 4 rounds of
Did you take the
LVC.
damn tour?
There was no damn tours, but
Please, no one wander off the damn tour. And please take all the damn pictures you want. Now, are there any damn questions?
Hoover Dam is way doper than you think it is. If you're going out that way, check it out. So I'm still like riding that high, man. Like it feels way more like spring. When I came home and like all this snow was melted, I couldn't believe my eyes because when we left,
Pleasant surprise.
we left on the 19th. When we were driving to Midway, we were going through that Chicago neighborhood and
It
those
was
poor people,
bullshit
man,
snow.
it was like snowpocalypse, like
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
14 feet of
everywhere.
snow on the ground. Yeah.
20-foot icicles, like absolutely crazy.
Yep.
And then we came home and it was just gone and I was like, okay.
Dude, did you
cool. Okay.
pay to park your car when you went to Midway?
We did not. We had a ride up there.
Okay, I
Sheila's
was gonna
parents
say.
always, yeah.
For the record, if we're friends, you can park at my house. I live like 8 minutes
Wait,
away
are
from
we
Midway.
not friends?
Oh,
No, I'm saying all of you.
I thought
All of
It's a
you.
real fucking backwards way to say that he's not your friend.
yeah.
If you and I decide to become friends one day, Sean. Yeah, no. If any of you, obviously, but like if you and I are pals in real life, you could park in front of my house. I live really close to Midway. Not a problem for me at
Shit,
all.
I should have done
Save
that.
you some money.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 3 days worth, but I parked there because it's not convenient unless you're just parking in the parking garage. Like it's
Right.
so easy to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's safe and like not worth the hassle to try and find somebody to give me a ride and like,
True.
so, but now that I know,
Yeah,
it's happening.
And you can park there, and I'll give you a lift there.
oh, damn.
Yes.
That
part
sounds like a
two,
pretty good
Part two
deal.
to my fired up,
Yeah.
though. Brian Earhart took top 10 at LVC, got his USDGC spot,
My man.
like best DGPT finish in 2 years. Incredible. So pumped for him.
Dude.
It was just
So-
amazing to watch.
My fired up will be piggybacked on his because we're going to talk about this a tiny bit.
Yes.
Not only did he kill it, but he also did commentary for Gatekeeper
Yes, he did.
every day while playing
Every
Guys,
day.
a
and
machine.
finished tying for 6th.
No
Trying to
way.
figure all of that
Seventh.
out.
Tied for 7th.
7th. And we watched it all happen because he was, in
Right.
our Airbnb. And him and his lovely girlfriend, Lindsay,
AKA
gave us.
female garb.
She's awesome.
Wait, female garb, the way she looks or the way she acts?
Kind of. I swear to God, they were separated at birth. Kind of both. They almost look like they
It's
could
weird.
be
Yeah, you're right.
siblings.
Yeah. But between Brian and Lindsay, they gave us like.
Wait, does one of them have
The-
half of a medallion and the other one have
I
the
think
other
so.
half?
Maybe.
Of a
Like, I
medallion?
think so.
It could be.
I'm
And they're on
telling
a
you.
journey to.
I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, we need them to
gonna be a
meet up.
big deal.
Yeah, but between the two of them, they gave us the straight lowdown on the entire like behind the scenes, what happens on the pro tour, and who doesn't get along with who, and who doesn't get paid, and like all of this crazy
who
stuff
doesn't
that,
get along with who?
that you
Oh, yeah.
would never
Right. He was
see.
spilled.
Right.
No.
And Ezra Aderhold is just waiting on the sidelines, going, "All right, you guys could just squabble. I'm going to become the new king."
Yeah.
Fuck all y'all.
And straight kill it.
Just
All
take
those
second, fresh out of the gate.
Correct.
Starting the
Yeah,
tour, man.
they gave him an RV, and it wasn't nearly enough.
He's
We'll see
is
what
he
next year
from
looks
our
like.
area or
No,
where is
South
he?
Dakota.
South Dakota.
Okay. For some reason thought that, but just because he dominated Clash, I figured
Yeah.
he was somewhat low.
No,
What
but-
kind of RV? Like Class A,
Like it was.
B, like a drive behind. was a motorhome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically,
I
yeah.
thought you said boner home at first.
I did as
Well,
well, but I'm always thinking
sure.
people are talking about boners, so I just assumed it was that
it
was my
is.
brain.
How large was the
Yeah.
boner home?
You want to come back to my boner home?
And
Now I do.
yeah,
Yeah, now.
Sorry, I have a cold. I'm trying to say boner home, boner home, boner.
but the only reason that actually Ezra got that motorhome was because, or the RV, whatever you want to call it, boner home, is because Nate Perkins went to bat for him and basically became his agent and went to Bob Julio and said, hey, give this guy something other than a Prius to live out of while he's on tour.
Which is a whole nother level of holy shit when it comes to disc golf.
Correct.
That position doesn't exist. There aren't professionals representing professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, but in not the right type.
Right. And so that leads to one player getting $10 million over 10 years and the other dude that just beat him living out of a Prius. So,
But when you're coming from living out of a Prius, a motorhome is like, yeah, I'll take that.
yeah.
I'll take the $500.
10 steps
and then
ahead.
before they can even say that, oh, well, option number 2 was actually, all right, yeah, we'll go with option number 1.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, you boner.
They
home.
just want everybody to be thankful for what they already have, and that's not the way to do it. So,
Weird climate in professional disc golf.
yeah. So we got the lowdown on a lot of that. Brian Earhart is making strides to try and improve the entire map as far as pro disc golf and how that's all
That
consumed.
dude's
so,
not done yet.
no.
That's
so
for sure.
Brian Earhart is never
I'm
not
fired up for that.
impressing.
Absolutely.
I'm impressed every single thing he does.
Correct.
I'm like, God damn it, he's done it again.
yeah.
Like we hang out. What I remember most from these trips and caddying for him and staying with him, whatever, is the conversations that we have post round. Like it's not because when you're out on the course and especially at Wild Horse, there are 3 massive temporary 18 hole courses, and every direction that you look is the same looking fairway with the same looking vegetation and just a tiny little basket in the background. And like, it's overwhelming. There's too much. There's like almost too much of it.
Yeah.
So you can't really absorb it, but then you go back to the house or whatever, or talk with them after the round. And that's where you really, the peek behind the curtain is like, it's deep. It's not just like, oh, we hang out with pros. It's, we are actually watching professional disc golf happen outside of the course.
Meaning
And
they're
that
kind of
is a
giving you that
whole-
window into how they're dissecting
their
each
lives,
hole.
Yeah.
the whole lifestyle.
Like,
of,
what was that one phrase?
They live in a van.
Yeah, we watched with Big Germ. He wasn't shooting very hot, and he was upset with himself. And he was telling his girlfriend, like, I have to battle my own ego right now. Right after he shot, wow, these are real people.
Yeah,
Like,
it completely
very
humanizes
weird.
them, but
Yeah.
in a really awesome way. That we need to get away from that. I think in professional sports, like we put these people on pedestals, and then when they make mistakes, and like they're just humans.
Totally.
From the highest paid professional athletes in traditional sports, all the way down to the Brian Earharts of the world, they're just guys out there trying to make the best moves they possibly can with what they've got.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that happen in real time.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by when they're having an off round and they either are totally holding it together and you're like, man, I know that doesn't just happen. That's a lot of discipline and like training yourself mentally to, handle what's happening and be able to keep playing. But I also see like when players are like losing their shit a little bit, kicking bags or like swearing. I get it. Like I don't want to see it, but it's a human doing the best they can with all this pressure, spectators, sponsors, like,
and the pressure's just going to get bigger.
Am I going to
So,
eat tonight?
Yeah.
real
Straight
talk.
up, dude.
Yeah, real talk.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to spectate? I mean, was that?
Well, that was the other half
It's a great
of my
story.
fired up.
Oh, go for it.
No,
Yeah.
but we were told specifically, do not spectate.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll see you off the premises. et
That's
cetera,
We
Sure,
et
talked
cetera.
about this in
Off, right?
episode
Yeah,
1.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sucks.
I remember you said
And
that.
Sean found a loophole, or somebody told Sean, and Sean found a loophole that every pro disc golfer was able to have a support person, a support member.
Finwall. Shout out to Finwall.
Finwall figured it out. Thank God. So each one of us found
That
a pro,
boy.
and
Because
so
we had all the
were
homies
support
out there.
crew.
Gavin was out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ian Burchett, obviously.
Schlitter.
Dan Schlitter, Finwall. And we hit them all up.
Schlitter.
Yeah, and so they all added us as support members. And so with that badge, once we got there, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
We could just go wherever we wanted.
That's great,
And with
yeah.
the badge, once in a while they'd be like, "Hey, you guys have support badges, right?" Yeah.
Just
okay.
flash the badge.
Don't
You guys
care.
beat the system.
Yeah.
We did.
So
Take note,
Yeah.
listeners.
As a
This is
TD, it was
incredible.
almost like, oh, man. This is like against the code. But sorry, Jeff Jackhart. we found a hole in your system.
Found a
and you know what? Like
and he knew too.
really
like
nice loophole.
they knew, like because there was a lot of people you could tell
It's optics.
they're
right?
held
We're
to a
talking
different
about optics.
standard, and
Right,
I get
absolutely.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
And Vegas is in phase 1 or whatever. So like legitimately they had to.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
more than what we're used to at home.
Yeah.
Different
Did you
situations.
get out and do any gambling?
No, I mean, we walked
I
through
didn't gamble
because
once.
Sean had never seen the strip. There was quite a bit for him to see, even with the, there was about half the people that I had ever seen. Normally it's assholes to armpits there, but it wasn't that bad. Still a lot of people, but we went through, like Bellagio and all these, like.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was just
those,
a never-ending mall. That's what
And
it felt like
so-
to me. Just never-ending mall with
Yeah.
like the occasional room that's just full of slots.
Anywhere else but Vegas that would make me want to off myself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to the mall this weekend, and that's when I posted you probably saw on
Yeah.
Facebook,
Uh-huh.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
Right. Yeah.
When I went to the mall and I just saw all the people slow walking on the wrong side. Like, come
Mall-
on.
mall etiquette, bro.
You
Mall
walk on the
etiquette.
right,
Yeah.
right?
It's only been
Just
a
like
year.
cars.
Yeah. Right.
But I just came away from the mall like not going in a mall again for the rest of the year.
All that stuff.
Should've
We didn't
saved that for
gamble. We
beef.
didn't. Yeah, we didn't stop. But oh yeah.
I'm coming back to that shit.
Okay.
for you later.
But yeah, it was badass. I got to watch 2 full rounds of disc golf. We followed Dan Schlitter, and then we followed Brian Earhart on his 3rd round. I had to leave on Sunday, but they followed him
Yeah.
through the end. But
I gotta go.
yeah, I gotta go. It was my wife's birthday. So
It was. I really like once
Dude,
I
she
realized
has one every year. What's the
She
deal?
does, yeah.
She doesn't
but
give a shit.
no, it was a great time. So
really
that's
was.
also my fired up. We're
Yes.
yeah,
Cool.
We're sharing.
Longest fired up ever.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I'll cut it down.
45 minutes.
We
It
won't
was
even keep
easy.
any of it.
It was just
We're not
I
keeping any
didn't
of
want to cut you off. It was just good.
There was
stuff.
so much for us to be fired up
Yeah.
about.
Yes,
Jason,
To be fair.
yeah.
bring us back to reality. What are you fired up about?
We are recording this on Thursday, March 4th,
Yep.
and tomorrow, Friday, March 5th, is the final episode of season 1 of WandaVision, and I am freaking the Michael out about where WandaVision is headed.
Cool. Okay, Brandon, what's your
Okay,
fired up?
do not ruin this for me because I have not watched. I think there were 2 episodes that happened while I was gone, and I have not seen them yet.
My God. I thought
Yeah,
Cobra
'cause I
Kai
left
was
on
the
Friday,
best
yes.
written show I'd ever experienced, and then I
Okay.
started watching
We have
WandaVision.
Jason.
no. I've already got beef. See, we both got beef already.
Listen, I love this about you, but we need to talk about this.
I don't know if I can finish this podcast, guys.
Yeah, see, yeah, see ya.
I thought it was like a quick thing, man. We're fucking 45 minutes
All I
in
wanted
right
to
now.
ever do with this podcast is drive a guest away. So now that I have, I
Yeah.
think I'm just
He's
going to
good.
leave.
I can see him
I'm
shutting the
done.
lights off right now.
All right.
You guys are good, right?
Somebody who gets really excited about things is better than someone who shits on everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
For sure. So
I
I
got
love
it.
that about you.
Yeah,
But every show that you are watching is the best show of all time.
Right, because I don't watch a ton of shows. Like the content available in 2021 is sickening.
It's
True.
overwhelming.
Yep.
It's beyond overwhelming.
Yep.
It's too much. Nobody can have a full-time job and be a parent and have a life and also watch the amount of content that's available.
Correct.
So I purposely trim it down to the content that I feel is worthy of my time.
Yeah.
And shows like Cobra Kai and WandaVision
WandaVision.
are worthy of my time.
Dude, no, for sure.
Yeah.
They're great. But you were just about to say something about it being the best show of all time.
I
Like,
truly feel it is.
Dude, come on.
It's all about if it can get me up off the couch and screaming at the TV. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't do that.
he is an ass man.
But when something happens where I
grown-ass
literally
man.
have to leave the couch and scream at the TV, I know it's good writing.
It's
Cobra
great.
Kai's done it. WandaVision has done it.
I love
I
it.
am-
I love but what it was like 14 minutes ago you were saying that The Mandalorian was the best show of all time.
It was prior to. They just keep upping the ante.
Right.
Do you, do
Oh,
you see
man.
the point?
All right.
There's like
I am 3 episodes away from the end of the 3rd season of Cobra Kai.
Uh-huh.
I could not watch the last 3 and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
It's entertaining, and I love that it's all tied together.
They've got to be running out of
The
juice.
content's just not that
No,
good.
it's not good. It's not good.
I
It's
don't
true.
think
You
that they're
couldn't be more
aiming
wrong.
for super good
It's
content. I
so
think that
good.
they're aiming for 80s cheesy. They want that
That's fine.
nostalgic feeling.
And that's good. I just don't put it in that class A.
Yeah.
You know.
All I want is for you to acknowledge it's a great show without saying it's the best show of all time.
Just one show.
Those last couple episodes, when they were over, I looked at Sheila and was like, "Can I join a karate class?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I mean, I'll start at the bottom."
It
Started from the bottom, now we
invokes
up.
something in me that has not been invoked prior.
Right.
And I love shows like, I thought Friends was the best show. I think Office is one of the best shows.
Yeah.
But those shows didn't invoke in me what shows like Mandalorian, Cobra Kai, WandaVision are doing.
Don't let me knock you too much. Like I said, I respect that you get excited about things rather than
Can't wait.
me. I tend to shit on more things than I probably should. So,
Right. There's a 10-year age difference between you and I as well.
is there?
Yeah.
No.
How old are you?
32.
I'm 42.
Are you?
Yeah. I turned 42 in just a couple months. There's a 10-year, and I think that comes
He
from...
thought it was 20 years. Alex is like, you're
No. I thought Ryan was the oldest.
no.
He's got me by a
Okay.
year.
Yeah.
Ryan is the brother that would have been in between
In
Jason
between
and I,
us, yeah.
almost literally
you feel
to a
pretty
T.
confident you're going to make it through the rest of the season?
Yeah. I don't know. I do have to check all my pill prescription and everything that keeps me alive day to
Yeah.
day, but yeah, I should be good to go.
Please do. All right. WandaVision,
June
I agree.
16th.
It's dope. Moving on. Brandon, what are you fired up
Thank you,
about?
Alex.
Disney Plus.
What am I fired up about? That it's March 3rd and yesterday or 4th, whatever it is.
It's March.
Yeah, one of those
Because
days.
tomorrow is the finale of WandaVision.
Shut. All right.
I'm fired up. I went bass fishing yesterday
Oh, hell yeah.
on Braidwood Lake in a boat, and it was like 60 degrees out. That's something I'm fired up about.
You just got a bunch of listeners fired up too. I know disc golf and fishing
Right.
go
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah,
too.
So-
so, like,
I've had a
boys
question
go
that I
nuts.
wanted to ask you that is perfect timing for this. But what do you think the worst possible thing to do would be in the wintertime, and why is it ice fishing?
Now I really am going to leave this podcast.
the whole
'Cause I was
reason
just
why
ice fishing
I know.
5 days ago.
I
he
know.
couldn't do episode 1
I know.
was because
That's
he
why
was
I wanted
ice
to
fishing.
give him shit
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
I love ice fishing. There's nothing better than sitting on a lake, like in solitude, staring at a hole.
Please tell me you had like some.
That's what she said.
Now you've got Jason's
Yeah,
attention.
yeah, exactly. Wait, what?
The tiny fishing
How
pole.
wet was the hole?
It's icy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you have an enclosure of some kind?
Yeah, we have a couple different shacks that we use
Okay.
depending on the conditions.
All right,
but-
that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just, actually, a buddy of mine and I actually owns a balance agility board. Can I do a shameless plug?
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
Whirlyboard.com. He's going to freak out. It's actually really freaking cool. Helps maintain your balance. But him and I, so he's an inventor. He's always coming up with some crazy new widget thing.
Okay.
Came up with this whirly board. It's become really successful for him. So this year, he's a big ice fisher buddy of mine.
Bummer. Okay.
We bought a permanent shanty. We spent
hell yeah.
$500 and
Whoa.
bought a wood-sided with a wood-burning stove shanty. Needed a little TLC. So this winter we worked on it. Never got it on the ice until today. I'm not there, Eric, and he pulled it out on the lake, but for good reason.
Yeah, I mean,
He wrapped
better
the whole
to be
thing
used than not
with
at all.
Whirlyboard Werk Force. It is the
Whoa.
it is the hub of northern Wisconsin for ingenuity between our brewery and his Whirlyboard company. It's
Awesome.
Hell
it's a think
yes.
tank. All we're gonna do is
We'll have to get
Dude.
to. You'll
Ice
have to
fishing
send us
hang out.
photos, please.
We use that
it's
term.
incredible.
Yeah.
Think tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna need
Yeah.
photos of that for when
Yes,
we post all.
absolutely.
With each episode, we post an album of like the things we talked about. So we're gonna need a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he worked really hard on it while I was gone because he lives up there
Yeah.
in northern Wisconsin. So I got up there a couple weeks this winter, and it's 2021 winter of 2021 in December. That thing is going to be rocking out on the ice. So yes,
Okay.
we have a really nice hut.
Touche.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's
Badass.
kind of cool.
It's not even a
actually.
hut; it's a house. It's an ice house.
Hell
A
yeah.
wood burning stove in the shanty.
You know what?
Yes.
You should brew a beer and call it Ice House.
Nah.
You know what? Let's not talk to my lawyer about that.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome, and that is maybe the most unique fired up we've had yet on the show.
Yeah.
I'm real fired up over it.
Yeah.
guys. Real.
So this,
well, wait, how'd you do?
Caught only a few fish, but
Okay.
I didn't
It's not
care.
about the catching; it's about staring at the hole.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
I'm in a t-shirt.
Right.
Well, ice fishing, but yesterday. I mean, I'm in a t-shirt on Braidwood Lake fishing.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Hell yeah.
So this was due to Ryan and Sean, the longest fired up ever. So I'm going to go quick with mine.
Okay.
I just watched the Notorious B.I.G. documentary on Netflix.
Indeed.
If you like rap, watch it. It's the best documentary of all time.
And if you don't know, now
now
you
you
know.
know.
Now you know. By the way, I only said that to make fun of Jason. It's a great documentary. It's definitely not the best of all time, but
in the whole world.
it's great.
The whole time.
I'll be listening to Biggie for. I'm going to be on a Biggie kick for like a week probably.
I watched it while I was on the trip. It's sick.
He's
Oh, you
wearing
watched the
the
documentary too?
he's wearing the
So
hat
good.
just right. He's got the jacket. So
Give me my jacket, please.
Speaking of music documentaries, I heard that there is a music documentary about Billie Eilish that is like.
Oh, I can't wait for that to
incredible.
come out. Yeah. I don't think it's out yet. Maybe?
I heard about it
Coming
on a
out soon?
podcast, but I don't know if they had like early access to it or not. But
Probably.
it got me super excited.
Did you see the
to check
preview
it
for it?
out.
Check it out. Give me chills.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love music documentaries. I'm gonna check out the Biggie one, but I'm very excited about this Billie Eilish one as well.
Maybe one day there will be a documentary about this
About
thing
this,
we're doing right
yeah.
here.
Whoa.
It's probably going to be the best ever.
Whoa.
Best documentary of all time.
Of all time.
As long as Disney Plus airs it,
Yeah, exactly.
then,
Yeah.
it'll win Jason's approval.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move it along. It's time for the Callahallander Rundown, brought to you by
DiscGolfScene.com. Come on, Pete.
Come on, Pete.
All right, guys. Like I mentioned in episode 1, we're going to keep it short and sweet. This is the Callahallander Spring Edition 2.0 Fraction Run Cup 3 at Delwood. Went live a while back. It's on March 20th, a couple weekends from now. There are still a few spots, I believe. Get on DiscGolfScene.com. Go check it out. Get signed up. The Dog Bowl, which was supposed to be this Saturday, March 6th, got moved to Saturday, March 27th out at Old Oak Ball Golf Course in Homer Glen. There are definitely spots for that because that was an overlap with another event. People have been backing out left and right, so go check that out, DiscGolfScene.com, and get signed up. Old Oak Spring Warm-Up to the next day, March 28th. Also has spots. That's a doubles event that we're doing out on the same track, so go check that out. Clay Track Classic 3 at Trinity goes live on 3/19. That's pretty soon. I better get building that page.
yeah.
Yeah, on DiscGolfScene.com. That's another one, Pete. That's like 4 now. That event is on April 17th and 18th. Werk Force Brewing Open 3.
Ever heard of it?
Ever heard of them, bro? That is at Homer Glen. That goes live on April 30th. That's a Friday night at 7 p.m.
That baby's going to fill up.
And
Set
the
your alarms.
event
That's what she said.
is on May 29th and 30th. Last but not least, Clash at the Canyons 5 AM weekend.
Dude.
That is going to be going live.
That's going to set
on
records.
Friday, March 27th
Yep.
at 7 p.m. sharp on DiscGolfScene.com. The event is on June 19th and 20th, and that is your Callahallander Rundown, boy.
Wow, you totally redeemed yourself with the fastest Callahallander rundown we've ever had.
Got it
Wonderful.
wrapped up tight.
Come on, Pete. All right, here we go. Time for the local route. I think you got, if you listened to the last episode, you know that I'm now mostly using my local route shout-outs to highlight people doing great things in other local communities.
Right.
I have all the love for you guys, but
Levon Wolf, shout out.
So I'm going to, again, save mine till the end. Let's start with Jason. Jason,
Yes.
you did something awesome for a local route this
I
week.
did.
Yes.
Tell us what you did.
Yeah, so I took your concept of traveling out into the Facebook world to try to get a hold of other people, and I created an Instagram post, which, by the way, our Instagram is up to 600 followers as of today.
Yes.
Pretty
Saw that.
exciting
Congrats.
stuff.
Booyah.
Yep, very excited about that. So I used Instagram and I created a post. I said, look, guys, I'm like scene adjacent, like I'm just in the scene, but I'm also not in the scene.
Yeah.
So I was like, guys, help me. Talk to me about people
Right.
doing great stuff within the community. And I created a post on Instagram, got a ton of feedback. So I am going to shout somebody out.
I love it.
I'm going to shout out the other Nora
Again? What's going on here?
and Brent that are part of at Dixon Disc Golf. They're doing big things out there in Dixon, Illinois.
What are they doing?
Great question, Alex. Let me answer this for you.
Jason, what are they doing?
The message that I got from them is the whole Dixon Disc Golf crew has done so much to grow the sport here locally. They've installed their first 9-hole in 2018 at Lowell Park, then just installed another 9-hole this past October at Page Park. They just hosted ironically, a Veterans for Vets tourney the past weekend with 96 players that showed up, which I thought
You didn't beat Danielle Brogy. She had 147, boy.
At first, I
Step it
thought
up.
I was being messaged by those same people. Then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, no, there's somebody else doing great things for vets.
Very
out
similar
in the scene,
situations. And
which
they're
I thought
couples
was
and they're both
absolutely fantastic. 96 players showed up. They raised over $1,500 for the local vets. I'm sorry, to send their local vets, rather, to DC to the Vet Memorial.
Whoa.
They
Cool.
plan to host a doubles match play tournament in the next couple months, followed by a dynamic disc sponsored tournament on July 17th and 18th. And on top of that, they run Monday Night Doubles League there in town starting in May and plan to start an after-school club for the local kids around there as well.
Good
and for
God.
them, 2021 is going to be fire. And I wholeheartedly agree. That is fantastic things that they're doing out there.
That's
You
huge.
would absolutely love them.
Yeah.
You need to meet them soon.
Yeah, I just in that one exchange, I was like, oh, these are good people. I could just tell
The first time I met
immediately.
Nora, she is hysterical. Like, she's super fun, super sassy, great personality,
Super pumped up
funny,
about disc golf and
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
And then later met her boyfriend Brent, or now fiance Brent.
Fiance,
Ooh,
yeah.
Fiance Brent.
congrats.
And both incredibly awesome people.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Hey, who do you think would win in a fight, by the way? Your Nora or this Nora?
Like a sass fight or a
Yeah.
physical fight?
Ooh.
A sass fight? She's going down.
If we gave them both a knife, who would win?
Oh, probably the older Nora. But if you had a staring down menacingly contest, my daughter Nora would champion of the
hands
world.
down.
She'd
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
best ever.
Yeah.
If you had a
best
finger
ever.
painting contest,
Yeah.
She's like a female
think
Chucky. She's like a little Chucky.
No,
doll.
Nora also painter. I believe maybe her father's company. I'm not 100%, but she does murals. Her and her dad do murals all over, like sides of brick
Her
buildings.
dad's
and,
right
like,
there. Why are you?
inside. No,
The
oh, no,
other
the
Nora.
other Nora. Excuse
Okay,
me, I
sorry,
should have
sorry,
specified. They do all kinds of like
No
cool
kidding.
art shit too.
I mean,
There's gotta
really
be a way
cool.
for us to
my Nora and I do
something
murals
cool
like
with
on the
that.
bathtub.
Not
Like,
the same-
on
not as cool,
okay,
sorry.
on the walls. No.
Cuter.
Okay.
I'll give you cuter.
Okay.
Sorry, dog.
Sure.
Scene.
My local route shout out is to the homie Zach Finwall.
Hell yeah.
Did I steal it?
You stole
Gotta
it.
be quicker than that.
You stole it.
I've known Zach for a little while now. He's on Team DDG, but this is the first time I've been able to spend more personal time with him and, have some meals together. We didn't do like the whole Vegas thing, but like hanging out at the house was a lot of fun. If we didn't specify, it was me and Sheila and Ryan and Nikki and Finwall and Dan Schlitter and Brian and Lindsay were in their van in the driveway, but they were coming in every morning. So
That's
every
awesome.
morning was like coffee and bullshit, and it was super sick. So
And bullshit.
right and coffee and bullshit. So a couple of
What a
things
crew,
I
man.
wanted to. Once I realized that I wanted to shout out Zach Finwall, we just had a great time together. He's a super appreciative and just awesome dude. So 2021, this lowdown on Zach Finwall, the homie. 2021 is his second year as a full-time pro. 2020, he played 35 events and took home over $3,000 in winnings. Like,
Wow.
if you're on that cusp of like, I feel like I'm good enough. Like, he's just a dude that he's diving in. Like, he's talking to Jeff Lotion right now about possibly purchasing his RV to take out on tour. Like, I like hungry people like that. And what he is displaying right now is just like, he's getting after it. And I got nothing but respect for that. 2 wins and 10 other top 5 finishes in 2020. The 9th highest earnings in the state of Illinois with a 972 rating.
No kidding.
After playing mostly local in 2020, with a few exceptions, he's branching out and touring and played Vegas. Obviously, he was with us and is signed up for the Memorial, which is happening right now.
Right now.
I wish I had a lowdown on his score from round 1. Throw it on the mountain out in Florida. He's signed up for Clash. Northwoods, he got into that, and an event called Lake Superior Open. And I'm sure he'll be at all the Greater Joliet Tour Series events as well. So, even though out in Vegas he didn't get above that cash line, I spectated him, or I was his support staff, rather. Excuse me, Jeff Jackart. Being able to really witness that firsthand it was awesome. He's got the fire. He's got what it takes. And I don't think, people are quick to think that, like, when it doesn't happen that first time or it doesn't happen that first season and things don't click, like, it's easy to give up because people are questioning why you're doing it in the first place. And like, it takes a little bit of time. You look at a guy like Brian Earhart, who's been full-time touring since 2018, has only had a handful of highlights, and that's just golf. Like, that's just how it is. And I think Zach is a guy that can, excel in that field, and it's going to be exciting to watch his full commitment.
Dude, it won't happen unless you are fully committed.
You just got to dive into the deep end and learn how to swim, and he's doing that.
Yeah.
He shot 1,000 rated round today.
My boy.
5 down. He is 44th, so he's above half. So he's just got to keep playing his game, and he'll hit the line. So.
And that's one of today's Thursday, so they're playing 4 rounds, I'm sure. Probably Vista Fountain.
It's 3 rounds and then finals. So
there you go. Hell yeah, boy. 28 points above his rating.
Yep.
Is it possible that there's anyone else in America with more Raptor aces than Zach Van Wall?
That's the thing, too. He goes so deep in the collector hustle, and like he's the first dude in line when I do all these like crazy releases, and like he's about it.
Yeah.
He's about it.
He's all about it.
Yeah. So
and he's as chill as they come, just like and super genuine.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Can't say enough positive about him. Ryan, are you ready yet?
No, he stole it. That was going to be mine. Like I'm going to piggyback
works.
off again.
Do it.
Both him and Schlitter were just the coolest possible crowd. Schlitter wasn't feeling well on one of the days. He still went out and played a great game. We followed him for a full round. He is definitely the guy that you want on your card.
Yeah.
He's incredibly intelligent about the game. He's incredibly encouraging.
Intimidatingly intelligent about the game.
But so encouraging. Like nobody had a bad shot in his eyes. He was always like,
are you talking about Dan or Zach right now?
Dan.
He had all the right things to say to all the players. You could see, even though he was struggling a little bit, he was still having a great time, and it was just so fun to watch dudes that we know and we hang out with in that environment and just thriving.
When I first started doing events with Disc Golf Chicago, I heard from no fewer than 10 people that I needed to know Dan Schlitter. You just got to know him. He's the coolest. He's so supportive. He will do whatever he can to help you. And he's just like somebody that so many people look up to. Also past guest of the show. And
indeed.
First guest.
What was his position on the hot dog? He says the hot dog is not a sandwich.
It's not.
That's one big knock against him in my book. But otherwise, everything's great.
Everything's great. Oh.
Yeah. So let's move it along. All right. So we've done Ryan, Sean, Jason. Yeah. Do you have somebody you want to shout out, Brandon?
Yeah. Not disc golf related, but my buddy Joel Frieders, he is actually an alderman in Yorkville for like 45 more days or something like that. Huh. He's ending his political career, which he did, I think, more as a joke anyway.
Sick.
But he works for Hope for the Day, which has a lot of mental health awareness, and he is running a new program called The Things You Don't Say, and especially in the service industry, the beer industry, the restaurant industry, there's a lot of mental health issues. So I really got to do a big shout out to him. He's really taken this by the horns and run with it. He's the shit. Dude, all I can say.
Freaking love that. That is at the root of so many big problems in this country. I don't know if it's like this around the world. I don't travel enough to know, but in America, the mental health problem is so out of control.
I feel like it's just an American dumb bullshit thing that's been passed on from generation. It's funny. I was just having this conversation with our brother Nick this morning, who has been struggling with what we have come to realize as panic attacks. Right? So ever since he was in the service, he got out of the service a couple years back. He's been taking a form of Adderall to some milligram percentage for like 6 years. And then he just was like, I'm done with this, cut it off cold turkey. And that's when all these, he was like, dude, he would call me and just be like, dude, I'm freaking out. And I'm like, Nick, it sounds like, you're having a panic attack, man. Like, this is a whole new thing. We need, approach it from a different angle because it's got more to do with men's health, and you're not a pussy.
Yeah.
It's okay that this is happening to you.
Right.
And you can talk about your emotions and you can tell me what's going on.
Yep.
He has since gone to his physician and he got his prescription for a lower dosage, like a 5 milligram, like slow release Adderall, because his doctor was like, hey, dumbass, like you can't just be, acting like our dads would be and be like, oh, stop taking that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a whole nother awareness of your health, and it is not just going, hey man, how you feeling? It's also understanding that like doctor's visits are a real thing, guys, and it's okay, and you can just call your doctor and be clueless and figure it out, but like go see a professional. Don't just make your own decisions and go cold turkey on medications you've been taking for 6 years, because that's ridiculous, and there's a reason why you need to wean yourself off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
I think it's
so
crazy
real, man.
how so many people will live every day with challenges like that and not be aware that it's not normal. Not be aware that, like, man, you've just been like white knuckling it this whole time. All you need is to be able to talk about it a little bit and get a little bit of support. And the way you feel every day can be completely different. Every day doesn't have to be such a challenge.
The key is communication, right? So like in a relationship, communication. As a business owner, communicating with my employees, my parents, and anyone you care about. And I think people with all these mental health issues, which I think everyone has to some degree.
It's a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
But the key is to be able to communicate to others what you're going through, to just have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for an answer. You just have to sometimes have a sounding board.
And I think the American aspect of that is exactly what Nick is going through. Like, tell somebody about it. Like, you don't have to struggle with it internally, because what are you afraid of? What are we all afraid of? Why?
Just the stigma.
Yeah, why is it so
we're
tough to
just
get-
now understanding
Right.
how negative that stigma is.
It's funny how so many people, when you ask them, like, how's it going? Before they ever think about how they're really doing, everyone thinks, how can I sound like I'm doing as good as possible?
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than actually acknowledging, like, it's kind of been shitty lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nobody does that.
The reciprocal end of that is when somebody says, "Oh, I'm not doing so well," your immediate reaction is like, "Here we go." Like,
Right.
So
And,
both
then
sides of that.
Both sides need to
your
be
response
untrained.
is what's wrong, and then that's the negative stigma. Things aren't going good. Well, what's wrong? And then all of a sudden it's negative because you've now associated it with the word wrong.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
Right,
It's
right,
just
right.
life.
Yeah,
Like,
there's so many aspects.
If we say what's going on, now we're having a completely different conversation.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, right.
And we aren't having.
I think,
we're starting to have those conversations.
Yeah.
I think America is kind of unique in that we don't have nearly the same sense of community that a lot of other countries have, especially smaller countries, where there's not these huge geographical distances between where people live and the values they all have. Like, I think America's really individualized. There's not a huge sense of community. You can go to a different part of Illinois and people see things completely differently.
Sure.
So I think there's a certain lack of community. I think there's a certain lack. There's also, I think we're overstimulated in the U.S. especially. There's not enough time that people just kind of hang out with their family and their friends and just
eat
like
food and talk together and appreciate
turn
time.
everything off and just hang out and be with each other.
America's one big giant game of King of the Hill, fourth grade.
That's an awesome show.
Yeah. Check out again Joel Frieder's Hope for the Day. If you need somebody to talk to, reach out to those guys.
That's
Easy
incredible.
to get a hold of on Instagram, social media, Facebook, whatever.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guys, please reach out to people if you need it. All right, so I wanted to shout out somebody from the state of Michigan. I'm not quite sure geographically because I'm terrible with it, but
It's
Point on your hand.
The one,
it's the one that's shaped
It's
like a
the
mitten.
one that's shaped like a mitten. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's Southwest. Where is Flip City? Is it Southwest Michigan?
Flip City is
It's in Shelby, Michigan.
Yes, it's like close to the
Lawrence got it.
It's
There
on
you
the
go.
bottom left part
Pinky
of your
knuckle.
hand.
Yeah.
just below the pinky knuckle.
Anyways, Bill McKenzie. If you have ever been to Flip City, you probably know who Bill McKenzie is. I want to shout out Bill because he has achieved something so amazing in disc golf. I have not heard of anything else like this yet in disc golf. I'm sure it's out there, but I just haven't heard of it yet. Basically, Bill designed a course that's known as Flip City. If you've been there, you know why it's special. If you haven't, you've probably heard about it already.
Right.
Look it up. This is basically a private course that Bill designed on his property. It's got the same kind of magic as Delwood, like something special about this place.
Definitely.
I don't know really enough about it to tell the whole story, but it's like the disc golf version of Field of Dreams. This is a labor of love. It's his passion. It's the most special feeling place I've ever been as far as disc golf goes. There's all these like rocks that are stacked like Zen gardens.
Really?
And like all throughout the course, like people will just like random parts of the course, they'll sit there and stack rocks.
That's kind of
And,
cool.
Yeah.
I
like,
can get behind that. That's
from-
awesome.
It's definitely its own vibe.
Dude.
Its own very particular vibe.
And he has camping available on site. So
Yep. Number 6 now in the world.
Is it?
Beating us by 2. Yep.
Yep.
Number 6 in the world.
So like not only is it got this really special vibe and there's camping, it's an amazingly designed course, very challenging and very fun. There's a range of different challenges And at the top of all this is Bill, who's just like salt of the earth people. He allowed Disc Golf Chicago to come up there for a road trip and camp out and host a tournament. And at the end of the day, he came out and sat around the campfire with us and drank and told stories.
Oh, that's cool.
And just like really completed the experience.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to Flip City, check it out. It is like a disc golf mecca kind of.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
Bill will welcome you with open arms.
But
Yeah.
yes, we were there. We went there.
We
It
did,
was
and we've
like summer
I've only been there one time.
2019.
Yeah, and it was hard to explain because we had such an expectation, and it was different for me than I had expected, but still like kind of awe-inspiring. And so I would like to go back there again now, knowing what to expect,
Right.
and play that
And be
course
like, oh,
for
I
real.
remember this now, instead of looking for everything. 'Cause
Yes,
that's always the worst.
correct. Yeah. So now that I know, going back there would be amazing. And
Every year, think I'm going to go back. It's always hard to find the time. It's about 4 or 5 hours from here, but even if you didn't disc golf, you can go up there and just enjoy it, man. It's like you talk about turning your brain off and just kind of chilling.
The
like,
road to Flip City, that little side road with all the potholes.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
yeah,
Bill.
you're out there when you're out there. Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah, shout out to Bill McKenzie,
potholes, dog?
the designer of Flip City. It's a special place, and disc golf as a sport is lucky to have this. So thank you, Bill.
Amen. Amen.
All right, so it's about time we get to the meat and potatoes of this episode, if you will. The peanut butter and jelly.
the Thelma and Louise.
The Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and
The Tom and
Louise.
Jerry.
Tom and
Jim
Jerry.
Tom and
Theater
Jerry.
Soup.
The cabbage
Macaroni and cheese.
All right, that's enough of that. Before we get to that stuff, though, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor for the season. One of many sponsors, actually. AO the Mortgage Pro. He is a disc golfer who can help you with a mortgage loan on your first home or refinancing. He is a close friend of mine, and I think everybody here knows him. I have never bought a home before, and I was excited to find out, a friend could help me with this. So I reached out to him to get pre-approved, which I didn't even know what that meant, but I asked him, and he, within 15 minutes, had me pre-approved with the letter in my email. And now I went from having no idea how to start with buying a home to, okay, now I know what I can afford and I know what my options are. And it really helped the process along. He also helped another disc golfer in the scene, Tristan Rogers. If you guys know him, you can ask him about his experience. He actually went beyond pre-approval and actually, refinanced his house. So now he's got
Sick.
More room in his budget for tournaments,
Right.
more room in his budget for beer, discs, whatever. So if you dream of living near a disc golf course, it's time to start looking. If
Right.
you want to free up some room in your budget, looking at refinancing.
sure.
And AO the Mortgage Pro, that's Andy O'Day. He is as cool as they come, and he is happy to meet you on the course to talk about what you want to achieve.
Confirmed.
Amen.
So thank you to Andy, and you can find him on all the social media platforms at AO the Mortgage Pro, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, probably on
MySpace.
I love that
on
he is on
MySpace.
TikTok.
I was just going to say mortgage broker on TikTok.
I love
Yeah.
it.
All right.
Get
No,
after that
he
paper,
is-
boy.
He's just down to earth, man. I mean, he's a smart professional guy, but he's also like, you could just drink beers with him and just hang out.
Speaking of men's health, it's okay to go to a professional mortgage person and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me with this.
Please.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
There are professionals out there that
literally
have
their job.
answers to
Yeah.
all of your inquiries, boys and girls.
And it doesn't have to be some big, long, drawn-out thing. And he'll spend time with you, free consultation. Hey, I'm thinking about getting a house, or I'm thinking about refinancing, and he'll just make it really easy for you. So it is time for Work Hard, Play Hard.
Yeah.
Brandon Wright. Also, I've heard Sean call you Brando before. Is that just a Sean thing, or do people
No.
call you Brando?
No, it's a thing.
Which do you prefer?
Doesn't matter. But my whole life, I don't even know who started that. Maybe my parents or friends in high school, grade school. But yeah, everyone's always just called me Brando. I don't know why.
Because it's
wanted-
not shorter.
No.
No.
Well,
It's just
technically,
cooler.
actually, technically,
Like,
it is shorter. It's
Like I would
One
go
letter
Brand or
shorter.
like
One letter,
B or like
yeah.
Hey,
We're here
This
with
party's sick, but it'd be so much better. Was here.
So actually, I think I probably do know how it started. So back in grade school, whatever,
I've heard of it.
I was really into like World War II, like like airplanes and like fighter planes.
Oh,
and
man.
the Memphis Belle, if you guys ever remember that. No, probably not.
Heard of
maybe.
Yeah.
So, movie back in the whatever early 90s. And I was always going to different, what do they call those? The air shows, EAA, Oshkosh air shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And somehow somebody coined the name Brando Commando. And that was like,
Dude.
that was like,
Oh, that's sick. That's great.
That
was
is
like a thing
definitely
back
not
in grade
shorter, but
school.
you need to use that
Wait, is
entire
that-
phrase every single
like,
time.
is that your Instagram name or?
it
Brando
absolutely
Commando.
should be.
Yeah, if you
Make
that's a
that
missed
shirt
opportunity,
happen,
bro.
Ryan,
Yeah.
for Workforce Brewing, please.
Brando Commando.
They're
I never
all
really
going to buy
embraced it.
one.
So yeah, the Commando
It's
got
really
dropped,
just because
and
he
I've just
doesn't wear
always gone by,
underwear,
people
but-
call me
Yeah.
Brando.
So when I first met you earlier, 2 hours ago, I wanted to say Brando, but I was like, I haven't earned that right yet. I'm going to wait to find out.
Yeah.
What do I say? So
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Well, it's
absolutely.
crazy because when I was a kid, people called me Jaso Cameso. So
You know what? Cheers to
in
that.
a world in
Separated
worlds
at birth.
coming together right now.
It's incredible.
Jaso Cameso. Money.
You know what?
you're such an idiot.
That's my new Instagram handle. I'll just call
Jaso Cameso.
Jaso Cameso. Yeah.
So we're here because you have so much in common with with us and the scene. I want to take it back to first, like, let's get to know you as a human being, and then we'll get to everything else. You've mentioned Wisconsin a couple times now. Is that where you're from?
No, originally from the northwest suburbs, Barrington area.
Barrington, is that like Barrington's like
What's up there?
got some cheddar, right?
Money,
There's
money,
some cheddar
money,
there. There's some
money.
cheddar.
Barrington's. You're chilling if you're from Barrington.
Yeah, so born and raised there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Learned how to play disc golf in high school. My wife, so my wife and I, we went to high school together. We're high school sweethearts. That's Amanda.
Jesus.
Shout out to Amanda, right?
Amando Commando.
And Amanda Commando.
The real boss.
Yeah. No, everybody combines our names and they just call us Bermanda.
Bermanda.
I love
That's
it.
pretty cool.
Love it.
The Bermanda
Hold on.
I'm
Triangle.
here all night, folks.
Do you remember the first course you played at?
The first, so I was going to say her brother, Doug, he was into disc golf when he was in high school, or I don't know if he learned when he's a little older, like 3 or 4 years older than us. He learned disc golf and he kind of passed that on to me of like kind of teach me how to play, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the first course I ever played would have had to have been either Buffalo Grove, Crystal Lake, maybe Shorewood, somewhere like right in that little kind of circle of courses out
Shorewood.
there.
Yeah.
Shorewood,
I remember when Palatine went in, so it wasn't Palatine.
So did you like fall in love with it right away, or was it just kind of
Yeah.
like a passive thing, or
No, instantly I was addicted to
this
it.
is my new sport?
This
Yeah.
is it for me.
Yeah, so that would have been like 2000, probably 2000.
I love how many people have had that experience.
Yeah.
The first time they finally play, and they're just like, "This is what I do now. This is my thing."
In high school during lunch or whatever, we had a big ultimate group, right? So
Awesome.
we were already playing ultimate all the time. So the crossover into disc golf was like instant.
Yep.
We weren't familiar with disc golf, but then all of a sudden like kind of comes in. And we're like, what is this? So smooth transition, and
Easy.
I dropped the ultimate side pretty quick because I fell in love with like
It's
that
hard to
sport of-
drink
Not
beer
running.
Fell in
and-
love with not having
Not
to
running.
run.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how I got into it. If you want to fast forward a little, went to Stevens Point, Wisconsin for UWSP for the first year and a half of college.
What year did you graduate high school?
2001.
Same age.
2001. So then when I was up at Point, started playing. God, what's the course up there?
Olga.
Yolga.
Yoga.
Right,
Yoga.
Yolga. There's a few
Fun
courses.
course.
Yeah. Totally.
Hines.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh, yes.
So there was a gentleman up there. Oh God, you guys are going to know these names, maybe Randy.
No, I know Randy.
There is definitely a Mike Cousins. Many Mike Cousins. Randy is definitely a name.
Oh,
we've
sure.
heard.
So Randy-
Jim Clem would know Randy as well.
Jim Clem would
Randy
definitely know Randy.
had a disc golf store in his garage in Stevens Point. That was my first time. Like I'd bought discs at whatever, Play It Again or
Yeah, wherever you can. Yeah.
Galleons or whatever back in the day.
Home Depot,
Dick's
Menards,
Whatever. Yeah. So
Who said that?
Beach.
VJ, yeah.
I'll bring it up every opportunity I can. Continue, Beto.
it's all good. But we were playing some leagues or something like that up at Yolga, got to know Randy a little bit, and he invited a couple of us over kind of because we wanted to buy discs. He's like, well, you want to buy discs? Opens up his garage, and it's like thousands of discs, and all sorts of
Coolest thing you
tournament
ever saw.
stamps. Oh, stamps, yeah. I was like, what the hell is this? Just bought some stuff. Next thing you know, he's friends with Barry Schultz at the time, who was kicking ass. So we'd be out playing Yelga, and Barry's out there throwing like with us and behind us. It was just like that was my first time ever watching a pro throw, and it like
Changes your world.
floored me.
Yeah.
What he would do on these courses that we were, getting. Yelga's not easy.
No.
We're getting a 6, 7, throws in. He's like, "Phew," lays it up next to the basket. You're like, how the
Michael?
did this guy do it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that
What am I
was-
doing wrong?
I love that
Right.
moment where you and your friends are all competitive. The best of you is
The hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see somebody who shows all of you. Oh, all of us are doing
And
it
your
wrong.
necks just snap to the good homie, and you're like, you ain't shit, dog.
Yeah. I don't even respect or like you anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that was like that whole first start into like seeing what a pro could do. That was my eye-opening disc golf experience, right?
I mean, that's a hell of a person to see right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It was cool. And especially at that time, too, I didn't know that there was a professional side to disc golf, really. I mean,
Right.
it was just a hobby that we all went out and freaking threw discs in the forest. After Stevens Point, I came home. I went back to Harper College in Palatine kind of to get my feet back on the ground, per se. And that's where I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And so I decided, hey, there was nowhere around Chicago like I saw like Randy's Garage at that time. I'm going to
Break into Randy's garage and
I'm
steal
gonna
all his
break in,
discs.
steal all his discs and sell them in Chicago.
Right.
No, so I reached out to Discraft and Innova, Gateway at the time. Trying to think of who else. There weren't a lot of companies around.
I mean, there still aren't, but there was even less then.
Right.
Yeah, I set up accounts, borrowed just a little bit of money, and I think it was like $4,000 or $5,000. From just
Disc golf rich.
scrambled
Disc
some
golf
stuff
rich money.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, $4,000 or $5,000. Why didn't you just retire right then?
Should have. So I just ordered discs and started a small web company called flippinddiscs.com and sold basically out of my parents' house for a little bit until I went to school down at Southern. That's where I finished up, Southern Illinois, SIU. And
What time frame are we in right now?
that's like 2003.
So the internet's only been around for
Yeah.
like
5 minutes.
10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
flippinddiscs.com
This is like
probably
CE plastic era with
disc golf
Innova.
websites,
Like, I can't
period.
imagine what he was ordering. Like, you were ordering CE discs as stock.
I had boxes and boxes and boxes of CE discs. Yes. The value that I wish
selling
I had-
them for like
Yeah.
$15 a pop,
Oh,
dude.
God, 10, 12 bucks probably.
Wow.
But everything was prototype back then. Like all the, I ordered boxes of my favorite at the time was Proto Valks. I loved those, like bar stamped Proto Valks. That was my like disc of choice to throw. Those CE Firebirds, CE Eagles. Those were nothing like a CE Firebird.
Give me a CE Eagle.
Yeah.
How would you know, though? There's no way to know.
Right.
Back then, no.
You know,
You just
yeah.
knew
Just-
that the
they were
disc
just-
turned a certain way,
Yeah.
and you could whap it into like 50,000 trees, and it still threw the exact
Right.
same way you wanted.
It
Right.
wasn't DX.
It wasn't
Correct.
DX.
Correct.
They had Pro Line then too.
Yeah.
So that was the three. There was only the three: DX, Pro Line, and CE.
I'm kind of fascinated right now by setting up a website at that time because that really seems pretty ahead of the curve for that time.
So part of that first loan that I took out, I spent $800 or $900 on a website to have a guy make a e-commerce website. That website ran for about a year and a half. And one day, all the sales, I was selling discs and shipping them all over the country. It was pretty cool. And then the sales stopped, and I was like, man, what the hell happened? Typed flippinddisc.com, page not found, 404 error, whatever, it's gone. So reached out to the developer, what's going on? There's no calls back. Guy's ghosted. So we tracked down, God, I got to remember. So we used GoDaddy. GoDaddy was around back then. They had our hosting. It was something like that.
Danica Patrick commercials.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got to who held the server at GoDaddy, some contact there. We brought up what is going on? Where is our site? They informed us that this guy who had bought all the server space through GoDaddy stopped paying his bills. We're not the only website this has happened to. Tons of basically all the websites he's built, they've gone down. He holds the rights to all the original files, right? As a web developer.
Sure.
Wow.
He's gone MIA. all these people lost their websites, including me. So that sucked. So it took us out of business overnight.
Holy cow.
At this point, I'm like, 20 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah, what did you do?
So I don't
He
know.
said, "Fuck it, I'll make beer."
Exactly.
Yeah. Switch gears.
No, we did something like.
Wait, has this guy ever been?
No, we lost everything.
Never touched base
No,
with him again.
That was it. That was the end of it.
To this day, you don't know what he's up
No,
to.
it's gone. I don't know. He's gone.
Did you ever get down with like the out of the trunk hustle, or was it always online for you?
It's funny that you bring that up. All right, so I'm a deadhead, fish head. I love hippie music. So 2001, 2002, 2003, I started going to fish shows, and I would pop the trunk of my car and I
Sell
would
acid.
hustle.
Every hit of acid, you get a free disc.
There was a lot of trades.
Yeah.
That happened. So they
Nugs for discs, bro. Nugs for discs.
Hey, you got side hustle.
Crickets.
So yeah, I was hustling discs out of the back of a car. So we were going to Bonnaroo festivals and things like that. And at this time, I was really getting into home brewing. So I was brewing a lot too. So I'm a very big hobbyist, right? And another hobby, I started seeing a guy out at the courses whose name was Dr. Dye. I don't even know if that guy's around anymore.
There's only one doctor we talk about on this show.
Yeah.
Michael.
Leo Borowski.
It's the doctor.
Yeah.
So this guy was known as Dr. Dye. He would always show up at Round Lake, Crystal Lake, all those tournaments up there. You'd see him occasionally down at Gary's stuff in Joliet. We play some of those. And he had a pattern of dye that he would do where he would infuse, basically take the color wheel, where like yellow and blue make green, whatever. So he would do intricate designs that as you spun the disc on your finger, the colors would, it was like hallucinogenic where colors would kind of pulse in and out. The way that he would do his geometric shapes, his very geometric dyes. It was just like, it looked like you were looking through a kaleidoscope. So that dude inspired me. So I started doing research, figuring out you could use acetone and RIT and all this other shit to dye discs. Guess what? I had thousands of discs. I started taking stamps off of discs, which probably looking back, I shouldn't have taken all those stamps off of Champion Edition Firebirds.
Yeah.
And we started dyeing them. So I started practicing all that, found a plastic worm lure company that dyes worms, started buying those dyes and experimenting with that. At the time,
Still huge in disc dyeing. Worm dip.
the worm
Yep.
dyes are.
Yep.
You were way ahead of the curve, though.
Yes, big time.
So, because I was a big fisherman too, so that's how I
Sure.
figured out. Because I used to build lures and tie flies in my basement. So that I was like, I had all these catalogs for worm dyes. So I used to buy the worm dyes for other stuff and figured out it would dye urethane. When the website went down, and I kind of went full bore into selling on like fish lots and whatever string cheese band incident lots. I also figured out eBay at the time. So I started an eBay store. Flippin' Discs transitioned into, hey, I don't have to recreate a website.
Yeah.
I can have a store on eBay,
Yep.
list all my discs, and people are like bidding my discs up.
Right.
I'm making more money. I moved into the custom market. So I wasn't doing as much volume, but I was doing like more projects of art.
Sure.
Then it was kind of cool. I would see some of my discs get like resold and bought and sold on eBay. So that was the
Started to
moment
get
when
a
I was
reputation.
like, I made it on this $15 disc that's selling on eBay.
Maybe you've heard of me.
Yeah.
Right. It's nice to reach the peak, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started playing more tournaments back then too. And that's when I went down to Southern Illinois. Southern is a cool school where there were two courses on campus. One was a piece of shit, falling apart baskets. The other course was by the dorms, kind of well laid out, other than kids or people walking to class always coming through. But there was no club, no nothing down there. There used to be back in the day, and as people graduate and move on, everything died. Everything's waves in college, right?
Right.
So
You get one person who does a lot of work, they graduate, and then it takes some
all
time
gone.
before somebody else steps up.
a lot of my friends that we made while we were down there, I started a store in the basement of my house off of Hester Street called the Hester Street Disc Golf Store. So I had all these people on the course coming to my house to buy discs. So it was, as you just chat and having beers with these people, you're like, God, there's no leagues, no nothing. So I started up a club, started up leagues.
What was the club called?
It was like the Southern Illinois Disc Golf Club. It was nothing fancy.
The Hester Street Disc Golf Club.
Yeah, no, I think we called it like the SIU Disc Golf Club.
There's one of those, I think, at every college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran that I was only down there for like 3 years. So I pretty much had my hand in that for 3 years. And then when I left, I know somebody else took it over because I monitored on the PDGA website. There was a new president. I was like real excited. People took it over. And now I'm out of it, fully out of it. So I don't know if it ever kept up or what the status
What the
is.
club is like, for God knows what's going on with that club.
Don't know. I hope it's still together. I know the course is
Should
there.
look into that.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting.
They put another course
if
in. I know.
anybody knows anybody who still goes to SIU,
Right.
We'd love to hear from you. Just let us
Give us
know
an update.
if that club still exists. That'd be really cool.
Come on, all you Sidges, get back to us.
Come on, my Sidges.
This would have been 16 years ago, right? So it's been quite some time since that all went.
But
through,
it's
so.
like you
Four
said, it's the kind
generations
thing
of
that,
college students have come and gone in that time.
I just find it hard to believe that nobody would have kept it going.
Right.
Every year you're going to have at least a couple people who are passionate.
It's like the
and know what
Sandlot.
they're doing.
I know there's a few CE Valks sitting in that pond right by hole 4.
Buried.
They're in there. I know it.
16 years of silt.
So you were
Road trip.
$150 discs.
Yeah.
you had some adventures in disc dealing. You were starting to home brew.
Yep.
Was that something you were like passionate about, or was it just like, hey, this is fun, we'll just kind of F around and see what happens? Or
No, I was pretty passionate. I said I was going to these like music festivals selling discs, and the big one was Bonnaroo back in the time. Like when Bonnaroo hit, it was like all these artists, and it was this huge big fest. It was the Woodstock of our era. And so I used to brew and bottle like cases and cases. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 cases of beer loaded up in the Suburban, and we would all like party and go to Bonnaroo, and I would bring hundreds and hundreds of discs to sell, and then I would share beer. I wouldn't sell any of the beer, but
that's what I was just about to ask you. Was like, were there any rules that were being bent?
yeah, also, there was some bending, but
Bartering.
No,
You were bartering.
I know that
More,
guy.
probably more
Yeah.
than
Bending.
bending.
But that's how I got
my
into
God,
like
Jason.
you're at these music festivals and everybody rolls up with their coolers and opens up and people are bringing beers. These music festivals, like Bonnaroo was in Tennessee, right? So outside of Nashville. So you had all walks of the U.S. coming here, and me being so into beer too, there was all these different beers that you could try from all over the U.S. There was like that whole aspect to me that was really engaging. But then on the other hand, I had all these really cool discs, so I would barter and trade and sell discs. That's partially what took me out of the disc golf game, was that I probably bartered too much, and then you don't have the money to rebuy more discs to continue a business.
Yeah, Discraft doesn't take weed.
It's incredible.
Right.
Maybe now they do. I don't know.
Yeah,
Times
they
have
could.
changed.
Yeah, right. It's California. Yeah.
When you were bringing, I'm guessing the beer was like, you had to bottle the beer to bring it there.
Yeah,
right?
we'd bring all bombers of.
Were you dealing with like naming the beers and putting labels on them, or like what are you presenting to strangers?
No, back then it was just a brown bottle, like 22 ounce.
And you're just like, hey, it's a beer, whatever.
It's beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell them, it's my double IPA, or it's my my amber ale here, or my chocolate rye.
So there was no real branding or anything brought into.
Not that, no.
Okay.
It was just me as a home brewer, just like sharing my beer. But one quick story was Bonnaroo at the time wouldn't allow you to bring any alcohol whatsoever because they wanted you to buy.
Because they want you to
everything
buy
on site.
their $14 beers on site. Yeah.
So we're standing in this long line. We're there for like, you get there 10 hours early to wait in line to get in the gates. So gates guy comes to the window, says, need you to pop your trunk. I got to search your Suburban. And I'm like, oh my God, I got 25 cases of beer and all this stuff to sell. Oh shit. So I walk around back. I open up.
Hit him with a bottle.
Yeah. Trip him.
I'm Brando Commando, bitch.
Oh god! But I open up the bed, the tailgate of the Suburban. The guy looks in. He goes, "Holy shit! Shut it! Close it." He goes, "All right, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go down. You're going to go slowly. You're going to get back into your car seat. You're going to open up your wallet. You're going to grab all the cash out of your wallet. You're going to put it in my hand, and I'm going to let you through this gate." And I was like, "Oh my god! I'm getting shaken down. Here we go." So. Guy walks around the one way. I go sit in the car, and I was like, man, I do not know what I'm going to do right now. Well, luckily, I spent all my money on discs and beer.
You had no money.
I opened my wallet. I had $10, a $10 bill, and I opened my wallet up to him. I take that $10 bill. That guy was so mad. He's like, "You got to be kidding! What else you got? What else you got?" I was like, "Bro,
I got
all my
25
money's
cases of beer.
I got nothing.
You want beer or a disc?
He grabbed my $10 bill. He's like, "Get the hell through here!" And he let us into the gates.
No
and I got in with all that beer.
Wow. Shakedown Street, baby.
Shakedown Street.
if he was less of a shady dude, what was the worst case scenario in that moment? Just like you're not let in, or is there legal repercussions?
You know, I think when it's a concert venue, they're just going to be like, take all the beer out of your car. You're going to stack it right here at the entry gate. You can still get in, but like, we're confiscating all your beer.
So you got in and then probably made money from that beer, right?
Or it was all bartered. It was all traded.
Gotcha.
It was, yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with
Wink, wink.
We had a great time at the venue.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this was you're sort of evolving at this point. You're brewing in large quantities and like conducting transactions. How do we get from there to Werk Force Brewing?
Post college, starting to try to figure out what am I going to do in life. Everybody's in the same boat. You finish college. If you attend college, you get this degree. You're like, what the hell am I
What
going to do?
did you major in?
University studies.
What does university studies mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. What does that mean?
Nothing. It means I got a Bachelor of Arts. So
Okay.
I was actually studying classical guitar in college. Realized really fast there's no living to ever make as a classical guitar major. What are you going to do
I'm
with
trying
life?
to think.
Yeah.
So
You
I
can
got
teach
out of the
classical
program.
guitar, that's it, yeah.
Right. I'd already been in college for over 5 years, and I went to the counselor or whatever. And she's like, you know what? You've done all these different weird classes. We can get you out of here in 6 months. And I was like, with what? University studies? Get me out of here.
Sign me up for that.
My parents will buy that. Let's do it.
There's a lot of bass fishing I could be doing on the lakes down here. Get me the hell out of this college.
Right.
So
Why didn't you major in bass fishing?
trust me, bro. If it was a major, I would have done it.
I almost went to school for bowling.
I know
I
you
wanted to be a
mentioned that.
professional
Wow.
bowler.
Yeah.
I was looking into bowling for a minute, and there's a couple schools out there like that offer professional
Mm-hmm.
bowling programs. But then I discovered disc golf, and I forgot all about bowling.
Solid life choice.
Yeah,
Here we
Bowling?
are. Here we are. Yeah.
here we are.
So yeah, got out of college, came home, kind of, still playing disc golf a lot, but the store at this point was pretty much done, right? Like got out of college, still had a lot of bids of discs, but I just like
The
wasn't.
eBay thing was still kind of going on in the
The
background.
eBay
or-
thing died down. eBay as it grew, they were raising fees and all this. It was just like wasn't what it used to be. So, and I kind of had realized too at that point that my disc golf career had pretty much, whatever I had started to work on was pretty much coming to an end because, hey, you graduated college. Guys, you got to find a real job. You got to try to figure out life.
Shit or get off the pot.
Shit or get off the pot. I've been
Yep.
doing the disc golf thing for, at that point, seven years.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, worked a couple corporate jobs, Office Max, corporate headquarters, got in and out of that. Worked at a winery for about a year because I was into homebrewing so much. Got a position there. I wasn't passionate about wine. Wasn't my thing. Went back into Office Max's headquarters. From there, I went into corporate real estate. It was just kind of bounced around with a few things. So I was a corporate real estate broker for about 5 or 6 years. Hit the recession I got into corporate real estate end of 2006.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Good choice.
You guys
Great
know right where this is going. So
I've seen The Big Short. Thank you.
yeah, between end of 2007 through it was like October 2008 was what really I think the lowest point. It sucked. I was broke. My company was paying me a draw, like a really bare budget salary.
Yeah.
I mean, like minimum wage style salary that
Right.
I had to repay them. So like any deal I scraped together during this recession, the commission check went back to them. So it was really, really tough. We came out of that. So now we're talking about like 2011. Economy was picking up, started getting a few more deals under my belt in corporate real estate. Ended up a couple principals in the firm really helped bring me in on a deal. We sold a huge manufacturing building in Bolingbrook. And that paycheck was really good.
That's what I was going to get to. Is that it can only it could be 1 or 2 mega deals,
Yeah.
and you're going to be chilling.
So that deal alone right there was like a 6-figure paycheck, which was incredible.
Wow.
Never seen any money like that in my life. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, but you still owe us this money for a draw. Oh shit, chopped. And they're like, oh yeah, guess what? You owe taxes. Ha,
Yeah.
chopped. So next thing you know, I walked away at the end of the day with about $40,000. So that's a lot of money.
Yep.
But if you think about that, for the last 6 years of my life in real estate, five years of my life in real estate, I literally made no money, right?
Yeah, I guess you're taking that $40,000 and divvying it out and saying, so I made what, like
I made like $2.50 an hour for the last like 5 years of my life.
$7,000 a year
Yeah.
or something? Oh my god!
So brutal. My wife at the time, I'm trying to think. We were married by then. She's a really successful wedding photographer. So she really pretty much was supporting us in everything, like all my bills, helping me out through real estate.
Beautiful.
She was a big part of all that. So when I got that chunk of money, I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep riding this roller coaster. I don't know if the economy's going to go back down.
Yeah.
I've worked my ass off for this. We paid off our taxes, paid off some bills. So I had this chunk of change left. I said, I got to do something that I love. So I'd had it with the corporate world. I didn't ever want to work for a corporate entity again.
Yeah.
So the original concept of what we were going to start was called Brando's House of Awesomeness. I was going to sell skis.
Brando's House of Awesomeness.
This is a dead, honest, true story. Skis and
I can't
snowboards, fishing tackle, disc golf supplies, and home brewing equipment. And it was going to be this like a Walgreens that you walk into, and it is just everything that I've ever done in my life as a hobby. Amanda sat me down. Said, "You're an idiot. Pick
Skis,
one." Michael. Yeah. Gotta pick
Chicago.
one.
She's like, sit down, Commando. We need to talk.
I love you.
I love
like
the
this
passion,
idea.
though.
Yeah.
I love like these are things you're passionate about. So it's like, you know what? This is everything I care about. I'm going to make this work.
That
And
sounds cool enough that, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not too late. Let's go.
Trust me, I know.
Let's go.
I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, so Brando's House of Awesomeness never actually happened. She said, look, you got to pick something and run with it and put your full all in to it. Now, which she's not wrong. Like that's
No, that was
if you're too
great-
diversified right
great
off the bat.
advice.
So I said, I'm so passionate about home brewing. I'd already done the disc golf thing, stumbled around in corporate jobs. Let's pursue. I'm gonna start this company. So we.
I got to stop you because I don't. Home brewing and craft beer is not something that I'm very educated on at all. It's pretty like I'm just aware that it exists and that it's dope and that you can make a living doing this if you're really good and passionate, but I don't really have a frame of reference. So at that time, what was the craft brewing sort of identity and community like? Did you know of lots of other brewers who were like making it, or were you like, I'm going to be the exception to the rule? Can you just tell me about like what you had seen around you at that time?
That would be 2011. If you think back to what I had just experienced in like 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, was going to all these festivals and shows, drinking all these crazy craft beers. People are rolling in from Colorado, California, the East Coast,
New York City.
Yeah. I've never seen a beer with paste picante.
Grab a rope.
So I was already really, really into trying to find all these new flavors. What a double IPA with this hop and that hop. I've never heard of this, man. That's part of being a home brewer back in that day too. I got so passionate about home brewing because I wanted to recreate those beers. And I was like, man, I tried this one. Holy cow, it blew my mind. I got to figure out how to produce this. Now you bring it up to 2011 when I wanted to start a homebrew shop. That's part of where that culture part of me was like, I've had all this flavor and sensory like overload for the last 8 years. I want to bring this forward. And I know people want to. I was part of some homebrew clubs I was getting into, just like disc golf clubs. There's homebrewing clubs.
Yeah.
Started meeting all these people, and I was like, God, there's nowhere to get these ingredients that I want to make these beers. There was a couple homebrew shops in Chicago, but nothing like what I want, the vision I wanted of Brando's House of Awesomeness. All in, man. Everything.
That is the best name
Yeah.
for anything ever.
So wait, you're telling me that we haven't talked about this at all yet. The other part of Werk Force Brewing is there's a store.
Chicago Brew Works. So that's what we started with, was Chicago Brew Works.
That was your first endeavor into.
Directly behind us.
Yep, directly behind us.
Mhm.
Yeah, through the wall.
Through the wall.
Through the
behind
wall.
us.
So the 40 grand that you had from that one deal gave you what you needed to get that started, or was there more? Like, did you have to go get more money, or?
So that's what started. Not even at this location. That was north of Plainfield. There's a Binny's liquor store. We were behind that industrial park. That 40 grand was spent on point of sale stuff. My build out of like table. I did everything. All the contract. I did everything myself. Shelving, inventory. That gets spent really fast, right?
Sure, yeah.
It like really, really fast.
It's interesting because if you have no experience with running a business, you think 40 grand. Dude,
Yeah.
I could do anything with 40 grand.
I could be the
And
next
then-
Amazon with 40 grand.
Then you make like 3 purchases and you're like,
Gone.
shit.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To scale, like to run our company today, that 40 grand is about 2 weeks of running our company. and expenses. So
Wow.
just like to wrap your head around that. That's
You're talking
insane.
salaries. You're talking electricity,
rent, insurance. Nobody calculates how expensive insurance gets. Like
You're talking about for your employees and for just
Everything.
the business insurance.
Just to exist.
Workers' comp, liability, liquor liability, also dram shop, like all these layers of things. Liquor licenses, annual licensing. So I started this little store. It was just me and I hired a couple of my buddies. We were working there, and I don't know how much time you want on this podcast. I could wrap up, or this story could go on for about 8 hours. But
No, not 8 hours.
But so kind of to give you the quick version of what transpired, I was a passionate guy, not making any money, trying to figure out business 2.0, right? That was January 2012 is when we opened. Later that year, that was May, I got a certified letter given to me from the postmaster. I don't know if it was a sheriff or postmaster, served me a letter that I had violated some ordinances and I had to appear before a board at Will County, and I had to be shut down immediately, cease and desist. Otherwise, they were going to retroactively fine me $500 a day from every day that I'd been open.
Wow.
So as a young business person, you're like, this isn't, they got the address wrong. This isn't mine, right?
Yeah.
Call the county up. You're Brandon Wright, yeah. They're like, oh no, that letter's for you. You got to appear. We highly recommend you hire a lawyer. And I was like, what did I do wrong?
Damn, that's so terrifying.
It's crazy, dude. I thought I was losing everything. So the tenant before me had done a bunch of build out, never pulled a single permit.
Oh.
I signed a lease and moved in. I just signed a lease on a place, right?
Yeah.
When I was inspected, they figured out that place had never been built out, or permits had never been pulled to do all the work that needed. But it shouldn't be my problem. I'm just the guy signing the lease, right?
Yeah.
The landlord should be in trouble. Well, then I sold online I had a web portion of my store, and then I had a physical store. You could walk in and buy some home brewing supplies.
Yeah.
In that industrial park, you cannot have a retail storefront style business so long as your retail supplements an industrial use, which mine should have been fine because within that industrial park was at the time Limestone Brewing Company, buddies of ours. So whenever they were in need, I supplemented Limestone as well as other breweries in Chicago on a kind of a wholesale basis. We were supplementing them on the industrial side. I had a small retail portion. I was also running an online store, which is also allowed within the park. Well, they came at me that the retail component is not allowed, even though in the code it says that it can be allowed as long as you have the industrial use that supplements that. This is a long-winded answer. So
I love it. This is so deep, and I'm
like, it's going on,
Yes.
but I could listen to this for hours.
Yeah.
So we hired an attorney. I pulled a Freedom of Information Act through the county to see the last 15 zoning hearings, who was the attorneys. And there was this one guy who was on like 5 or 8 of the last 15 as a representative of the defendant's side. That's the guy I need. He's got the most experience.
Yeah.
Turns out a friend of mine, Kevin Herbst, it was also his family attorney, which he also recommended. So I had like multiple angles of like, this is the guy to use.
Yeah.
Dick Kavanaugh. What a name. So so I call up old Dick. I tell him my story, and he's like, this is bullshit. Their county's coming down on a small bit. I'll tell you what, I'm going to represent you for free. We're going to see where this goes. And if it gets too big, we'll talk about it. But I'm just tired of them screwing the little guy. And this guy freaking worked for free and represented me.
Wow.
So I meet him at the county, and he's just like you'd think. Older guy, leather briefcase, holding a cigar. I can't even make this shit up. Like, this is like, you're an angel.
It's not real life.
You're a character in every movie about courtrooms.
This is insane. Door swings open, and it's this big freaking round U table. The head of every department of Will County is there to like question me. All right. I will admit that one thing that I had, looking back on it, wasn't right, but I didn't see the problem in it. As a home brewer, we all like to drink beer. I'm behind a freaking biddies. Every time that, the truck delivered a certain brand of beer I wanted, I watched that truck pull into its loading dock. We'd run over there and get beer. So all my buddies in the homebrew club and stuff, what did we do? Did we have beers in the shop? Absolutely.
Hell yeah, you did.
Yeah. We crack a couple beers. I had a kegerator in the corner that I had some of my homebrew on tap. Never sold a beer. Never ran it like a bar, anything like that. However, looking back on it, if you're in the beer business, even though I just sold supplies, wasn't brewing at the time like a professionally brewer, but when you're in the beer business, you've got a target on your back. And you got to play by all these sets of rules to make sure you don't cross any lines. So that was one of the lines that they really got pissed about, was that you're running a bar out of this place while selling all these ingredients. I'm like, I'm not running a freaking bar.
Right.
Check all my, I don't have a single dollar. I've never made $1 off of beer. Like, I don't sell beer, but they got me on that. So it basically turned into a huge slap on the wrist fest. You can never do this again. You have to turn your store into a pharmacy with a new counter that everyone has to place a web order online or some sort of a pre-made order, and people can't walk around the shop to buy it, and you have to fill their order over a counter. So no freaking joke. I had to get 2 computers, put them in the front kiosks, and everyone that walked in, I turned my store into a freaking dispensary, and you had to sit down at a computer, place a web order that I had to pull off the shelf and hand to you as if you were buying illegal narcotics out of my store.
Wow.
So that was crazy.
Nuts.
So we did that for about a year, and I finally said to the county, I can't keep doing this. And at that time, the building that we're in now, investor bought it, was fixing it up. We heard about it. We looked at the space, and that's where the homebrew shop is today. That was our first. We have like 3 big spots in this building now. We
No big
ended
deal.
up- yeah.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Throwing that weight around, but go ahead.
So we wanted to move. So the landlord at the time of my first location, he's like, you went through all this shit with the county. We get it. I'll tear up your lease. You can move. So I'm actively negotiating and ready to, I think I even had signed the lease already on this place. A sheriff hands me a certified letter at the old location. I'm like, oh my God, what now? The building that I'm currently in has gone into foreclosure. I'm no longer allowed to talk to the original landlord, and everything has to go through a receiver in a bank. So I call up the receiver in the bank and I lay out my story, and I said, guys, I'm getting out of this lease because of all this problems that's happened. The bank said, we got to get back to you on this. A couple days go by. Hear back. Oh, we're sorry. That's a legal bound agreement. You cannot break this lease. You have to fill out the rest of the 3 years of your term. No, you don't understand. The county has told me I have to like leave and vacate this facility. So the bank pushed back really hard. So I started reviewing the lease one night, going, man, there's got to be something. In the lease, the use of the property for my tenancy was retail, distribution, and beverage business. What's that first word?
Retail.
Right.
Retail.
So I showed him the signed affidavit that the county made me sign that said you absolutely cannot conduct retail business at this location. And I showed him the lease that a former landlord had signed who lost it to the bank. When it's lost, it goes into receivership. Who has to maintain and fulfill all duties of a legal binding and executed document?
Right.
The bank and that
Right.
receiver. They said, you're right.
Checkmate, bitch.
Right.
30-day notice, you can get out of this lease.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we had signed it, started build out, got out of the lease in 30 days. We moved over here, and the rest is history.
Just a series of incredible events.
It was wild. Dude,
So-
it was a wild ride.
The thing that I can't stop thinking about is from the moment I walked into this building, actually before I walked in, outside, I smelled the campfire, I saw the lights, and I was just like, this place is awesome.
Vibing.
Is he selling skis and snowboards in here?
No,
What's
my first
going
thought
Somebody
really-
gives a shit around
No,
here.
we
that's
we
it.
eat homebrewed
Exactly
beers.
what Sean said was somebody gives a shit around here, and this place. And as soon as I walked inside, I was like, "Yeah, this is a labor of love. This didn't happen by accident."
This is disc golf money. That's what this is.
No. And
You are correct.
And now that I hear all the red tape and all the things you had to jump through for this to exist today, it just goes to show it couldn't have happened without grit. So many people in those same circumstances would have just thrown the towel in and
Folded.
been like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Michael, this man, I'm out. Like
Right.
I can't. I'm not going to keep doing this forever. And to hear your story now, I'm like, it's exactly what I envisioned. Like tons of work and passion and fighting and fear that you might get shut down and like sleepless nights. I'm sure 99% of people don't have what it takes to go through all those things to come out on the other end and have this to look at. It's an important topic because, Sean brought this up before we even, got here, that, small business, it's a tough time right now for small businesses. And it's an important thing for people to be aware of. What does it really take for a small business to succeed? It's not for the faint of heart, man. Sean, can you talk about?
So what you've got going on is like super large scale from compared, like your story is different, but relate to a lot of it, and you're like a hero to me. Like, we're doing it at the same time, but I'm watching you do all of this stuff. It's just incredible. And it is, like you said, it's just a super weird time. You know, you've got all these other things stacked up against you, and everybody has their own hurdles. But like,
Yeah, never in the course of history
super
has there
kind words.
been
Thank you.
Amazon and all these other like mega
Yeah.
corporations. Like,
where it seems like it's going in one direction, and we're doing other very small things for smaller communities. It's just incredible. I love it. It inspires me to continue doing what I'm doing on the level that I'm doing it. And it's
and yeah, people just need to understand, what does it take for something like this to exist, and why is it worth supporting this? Why is it worth supporting a Delwood disc golf shop? Why is it worth supporting a homebrew shop? You know, somebody's poured their heart and soul into making this, and what they're giving to people, the experiences, you know, the quality of the products, that, you know, all the service, everything that you're getting from these small business owners, like some of the most important things you can get, you know, in this human experience. Right. Do you really want to reduce your identity to being this consumer of some mega corporation that's just making
the authenticity of coming in here and knowing that, like, the dude who started this all is behind the counter, and he's like clearly takes care of his employees and gives a shit about the product that he's producing, and it's not TGI Fridays pumping out the next order, and you know, like,
it's not the bottom dollar that matters.
Right.
It's like it's giving people something that, you know, has heart and soul in it.
Well, as someone that is just, I mean, I'm on the lowest end of that scale, but I am starting to think about, okay, I need a space. I need to make this jump. You've absolutely terrified me that I'm now going to get a certified letter. So thank you for that. Yeah,
run. Hand it to you by a sheriff.
I'll tell you, it's interesting though. Like, plug that we use Ryan for our screen printing.
Don't plug him, please.
So, but you know, it's
Plug
something
away,
like
please.
that, like that we're excited to utilize people within our community too. Small, we still feel that we're small in the brewing industry. We are definitely a very small brewery, but we know like where we've come over the last decade. It's hard for us not to lose perspective on a day-to-day operation, like, because I still feel that I'm small, but then I hear, you know, like, you know, when you guys talk too of like, well, what I've gone through already, and I'll never forget that because of how crazy it was. But it's just like, it is hard to always stay grounded. And I have to admit, like, see what Sean does and all you guys on the tournament side, you know, like with Thor and Leo and everybody. And I always find inspiration, like, even though I don't really participate much in the disc golf side anymore from a playing standpoint, but like watching how you guys run tournaments and kick ass with tournaments, and me following that on the Joliet disc golf page, like, I follow that thing like a hawk on Facebook.
Hell yeah, dude.
Even though I don't really do anything with it because I get so inspired.
But you do.
For me.
Work Force supports and sponsors a lot in the disc golf community.
Yeah, you're like a proud uncle.
We do. It's just like always going to have a part of my heart, right, for disc golf. So like when I first met, I don't even know who put me in touch with Thor. Was it you that put me in touch with Thor? I don't even know how that came about.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, I think you had come up maybe in conversation of like, who could we talk to about talking about sponsorship and linking up, just bringing all these ideas together and making them much better because of everybody involved. And it really just stemmed from that idea. And then you sponsored the course and sponsored the event, and Werk Force Brewing happened. And now we're in year 3 of that. It's like, holy shit.
Honestly, I don't have much to do with the Werk Force Brewing personally, like the event, because you guys kick ass and you do it all. So like how that all kind of came about was Trinity wanted us help with a sponsor for maintenance, lawn mowing. I mean, there's so much money and work that goes into maintaining a course. And with that,
no one even
hot button topic in the community currently.
No one even can fathom how much money it takes.
I'm not aware of the stuff going on in the community, but like I know how hard I've been there. I see how much gas they buy, mowing the lawns and like basket fixing and cleaning up graffiti and new signs. And like, I get it all. So there's no question I make a donation every year to Thor and Leo and those guys that go straight into maintaining that course. So to me, that was like an instant no-brainer. And I physically go out there and I see it. I think what was cool was that how the concept of the Werk Force Open kind of was rounded into that. And like, dude, it just like melted my heart when we've got a tournament named after us now. This is like, it's insane. It's so cool to us. So
that was definitely one of my proudest moments.
Yeah, it's the least that we could do.
Was 2019 when we did the pop-up course at
in Plainfield, yeah.
in Plainfield,
Settlers Park, yeah.
And you were there, and we had the stamp disc, and I took a photo of you. I just recently, because I go through my photos all the time, and I scroll back and I saw it, and I was, like the smile on your face was beyond ear to
it was
ear.
awesome seeing you there.
And the beer
so
or whatever
great.
I just spilled like down the front of my whole shirt.
Yeah.
We could end up being here for 7-8 hours easily.
Yeah.
But what
I got more stories, whatever you guys want.
And this is going to have to happen again because I need
Yeah.
to hear more stories. But before we put a bow on this, I want to highlight how much you're doing for the disc golf community and for the disc golfers who play in the Werk Force Brewing Open and who play at Trinity and who are feeling the benefits and the love that you're pouring into the disc golf community. I hope they just get a little glimmer of how important that stuff is and like come to Workforce.
Right.
Return that love.
Right.
Like it all comes from a place of passion and love and like
sponsorship and money being put into events gets tossed around very lightly. I think that we do a pretty solid job, but it really, it's a great point, Alex. Like we need to really get people to understand that when guys like Brando are going, here you go, Trinity, here's, $3,000 to keep going through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And here you go, event, like here's all this money that it's not about expectation, but understand that it's all love and giving back to the community.
Yeah.
And to come here, it's the least that you could do is come here because
Well, and it comes down to
the
this.
value of just coming to this place and seeing all this culture and all of this really cool shit happening is like,
It comes
and buy
down
a
to
couple
this.
of beers.
You're going to buy beer and drink beer anyway.
Right.
Just like you were saying, you use me for screen printing. You could go to customink.com and use it, but you guys lean on me a little bit when you need stuff, and I totally appreciate that. People need to do that too. Hey, we're going to go grab a 12-pack of Schlitz. No. Stop over at Workforce and grab a couple of these 4-packs because they're amazing, and
That
it
was,
just makes sense.
we came up with the idea for the disc swaps, and we did. How many times have we done? We did that
Twice.
two
Twice,
times in
yeah.
2019. One in the beginning of the year, like
Yep.
March, and then one around October, November. I remember Brandon's probably going to let us do whatever we want, and sure as shit, we came here and we were like moving his brewing equipment. I'm like, this fucking dude is
Sliding
never going
tanks
to want
across
us
the
want us back again. And I mean, what awesome events those turned out to be, and what a perfect way to bring everything together, but getting together and culture and talking about all this stuff makes me miss it so much more after last year.
Yeah, I
like,
know. Yeah.
I can't wait until we can go, Brando, we're going to have
It's
another
time.
disc swap and we don't have to
Soon.
worry about anything. And let's get together and let's just talk Frisbees for 8 hours and drink beers and have a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do here.
And make you put away all your 01 rocks that you were going to sell for $10 on the table.
Who did I sold one to a guy. I don't have any seller's remorse over it, but who told me? Was it you or Thor? Somebody, he came up and I sold him the disc, I think for like $50. And I was like, hey man, I made a sweet deal. And then somebody else said, I think it was Thor, came back and was like, did you just sell that disc for $50? And I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, dude, that's like $140 disc or something. And I was like, huh? I was like,
Hold on, come back.
No, I actually used the money from that. So it was fine. It worked out in the end, but somebody had not a higher flyer, but it was the one with the freaking bowl in the middle of the ultimate disc that original had the original screen. What's the Busby?
Busby, yeah.
It was the 70s Busby. And I looked at that and I was like, man, I'll sell my discs for whatever. I want that. And that's what I was more interested in, was like trying to get some vintage stuff, something cool, a little bit part of history. But yeah, the disc swap, I want to bring it back as soon as we can. It was awesome.
Yeah,
So fun.
Great time.
To put a cap on all this, I want to bring it right back to mental health. You were talking about it earlier. I think when you support small businesses, your hard-earned dollars are going to support someone's passion.
Yeah.
That's some of the most human connecting.
You're breaking through the matrix when you connect with people.
And also, like, you're
commerce.
making an investment.
Yes,
Right.
Like, it's an investment in the people that are doing this and in the businesses and in yourself, because it all comes back around. So
If
it
you
only
love-
makes sense.
It is
if
the
you
fuel
love
of
these
life.
things, support it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every time you choose to go with the cheapest option, and I get it. In disc golf, no one's rich. No one's living.
Speak for
like
yourself.
a fat cat. And so every dollar matters, but think about what you get for those dollars when you give it to a small business. It's not just the product. It's knowing that you're supporting your community, your fellow humans, and you're helping to build connections that genuinely take care of people, and that's where I think we can start to really make improvements in mental health. It's those human connections we can have to each other. You know, when you're just a consumer throwing money at some CEO to give you the cheapest option on something, the cost at the long run is more than money. It's
your soul.
It's their soul.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. And then just leave it.
Jason, you haven't said anything in too long. Let's get into the mailbag.
Sure, you want to do that?
Mail time.
Mail time.
We sounded like a Michael barbershop quartet just
Michael.
now.
We did.
That was so.
I don't even know what I'm
that
doing.
was our best one. And I was
something magical is happening.
Yeah,
in this
I
episode.
can feel it. The magic's in the air.
It's the barrels.
Let me
It's
see
the
it.
barrels.
So I'm so glad this didn't come up because I was worried that this question was going to come up earlier and we weren't going to be able to approach it when we got to the mailbag session. So I'm going to lead us with the obvious question of the night. It was provided to us by Joe Moore. He wants to know, why
Jose
is it
Mas.
called Werk Force Brewing?
Right. So it's actually kind of cool. So Chicago Brew Works was the first homebrew shop, right? That's what we opened with. I have some German heritage. My wife's got some German heritage. I'm kind of like a Heinz 57 anyway. I got all sorts of heritage. I don't even know it all. Yeah. But so we spelled it Werks, kind of like Werks, the Werk side of,
Sort
the
of
German
like
heritage.
welcome in.
Welcome. So when we started Chicago Brew Works, we wanted to have some sort of kind of a loyalty program, kind of to offer some discounts on people that are really part of community. Our whole business was modeled around community. We donated a ton of money back like every month to people in need, not big organizations. Like there was a server in town whose house burned down. We threw down a rent payment for her to like get back into an apartment. Awesome. That was kind of like what our community driven business was about. So we started membership of that called the Werk Force, WERKFORCE. So they got discounts on different things. We did an annual homebrew competition, and that was our driving force of community. These people were involved. They were part of what we were doing. When we first opened, we were real small. All the tips at the bar went to 100% went back into the community fund towards people injured in a car crash, things like that. When we branched out and wanted to start the brewery, we originally were just going to call it, Chicago Brew Works, the brewery. And we got advised by one attorney who said, the word Chicago, you're not in Chicago. There's a few other breweries that have Chicago in the name. They can't sue you for using the name Chicago, but long story short,
don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So all right, no, that makes sense. Yeah, we're in Plainfield. We're not in Chicago. We kept having all these names that we wanted to kind of really avant-garde cool names to name a brewery. But we kept coming back. Workforce was one of them. We thought, man, these are all the people that were with us from the beginning, stuck with us. They're passionate. They're just as passionate about what they are to support us by being part of our membership drive and entering our competitions. That's what makes us, is our community. Thus, Workforce.
It was either Workforce or Brando Commandos.
Yeah.
Awesome fun house.
Awesome fun house of awesomeness. Yeah.
Workforce's House of Awesomeness got mixed. That's okay.
That's awesome, though.
That is awesome.
It's
incredible.
just acknowledging the people that have helped you do what you guys have done.
Yep.
And
So there's a part B to Joe's question, and unfortunately, Brando, you're excluded because we've done this dozens of times, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Joe wants to know, if you could name a beer, what would you name it?
Ooh, that's a great
So,
question.
Alex, we'll start with you. If you could name a beer right now, so off the top of your head, what would you name a beer?
No, Michael, no!
Sure. Yeah, everyone's going to buy that beer. All right, moving on. Ryan, if you could name a beer, what
I
would you name?
would probably call it something along the lines of barely beer because I am not a beer drinker. Although I've told Brandon this, I drink his beers because I like them for some reason. Although I don't like any other beer. So I don't know what he's probably putting some of that weed from Bonnaroo in there. I don't know what it is.
Smell you later.
Yeah. But it would probably have so much fruit and sour and bullshit in it that it barely classified as beer.
Sure.
So
Barely beer.
Yeah.
Like it. Sean, do you have a name?
So the bodies of water at Delwood Park, there was like Lake Delwood and then Lake American Indian name that I am totally blanking on, and I've always loved that name, but I can't think of it, and I try to look it up, and it's not there.
cool.
Maybe I'll put it somewhere at some point, but
Yeah.
after that.
Okay.
Very cool.
I think
Mine
I
would be
do-
Preckham. Let's move on.
Oh,
Damn it.
I'm not going to go after that.
No.
Hey,
No.
Before
It
you
was-
move on to the next question,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the community a little bit. Workforce is kind of the people who helped support everything. A lot of people probably don't know this, but there is actually a group on Facebook called the Unstable Alliance. We've kept it relatively secret, but I'm like, this is an appropriate time to bring it up. The Unstable Alliance is basically a private group of people who have been very supportive of Unstable Disc Golf gear and the show. They're people who have basically embodied what we think the brands are all about, and they're people that they lend a hand whenever something is needed. Yeah, they're supporting what we've been doing, and they help give life to what we're doing.
So what you're saying is when we open a brewery, it needs to be called the Unstable Alliance.
Unstable Alliance.
Yeah, okay.
Or that could be the name of my beer.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
All right.
I'll give you
Okay.
that.
Touche.
I'll allow it.
But yeah, if you guys are interested in becoming, I don't even know how we really decide who's part of the Unstable Alliance, but I guess if you're interested, just drop us a DM. We'll think about it.
Slide into those DMs.
Yeah, you can slide in.
Yeah.
Speaking of sliding in, Kyle Greenfield has a
I
question
love
for
this
us.
question. I saw this one.
We talked about it earlier. We have the beer named Don't Call It Frolf, right? He wants to know if there was a porn that was disc golf based. What would the title
have mercy?
What would the title of a disc golf porn be? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Ace in the Hole.
Oh, very nice.
Right out of the gate.
Did we discuss this earlier and I forgot? That was so perfect.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
very nicely done.
There's got to be something about a chain, a banging chains.
Banging chain.
That's a
bang,
thing.
Chain
Yeah.
bang.
That is a
banging?
thing. There is
Yeah.
a company called Chang Bang. That's a thing.
Yeah, there's something there.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I need like 5 minutes. I'm sure I'd come up with something gold, but off the top
Yeah.
of my head, no. It's a great question though.
I need 5 minutes is a good name for a porn as well. I thought you were answering the question,
Yeah.
but then I realized I just needed 5 minutes.
I hope that after people listen to this, they send us some great. Fill us in. What are we missing?
Yeah.
What are the
Yeah.
great disc
Yeah,
golf
guys,
porn
let's
names?
turn it over to the
You
to the
guys
listeners.
tell us what
You
are we
tell
missing
us.
here.
We only had a couple questions tonight. I'm going to end on this one. It's from Jake Thorns, a.k.a. Jackie T. Horns.
Saw him today.
He wants to know, when are we going to get a brew named I Call It Balf? Since there's Don't Call It Frolf.
Balf is anytime somebody brings up golf
Ball
on the
golf.
show,
golf.
we, rather than acknowledging frolf, we want to call ball golf balf.
Balf. Yeah.
So if you're into that,
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
I'll have my secretary get back to you.
Sorry, Jackie T. Horns. He's not loving the idea,
Yeah.
but it was a good question.
Speaking of Jackie T.
I'll have
Horns,
my people call your people.
we found out that Jake's sister is a tattoo artist, and the owner of the tattoo shop that she works at is down for us to record some stuff there and to get some, the Kyle Greenfield Unstable
Special.
Discourse tattoo
Yeah.
on his
Yeah.
body, which I've agreed I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Ryan said he would do the same
He was
thing.
in the shop asking me what I was going to get done, and I said, nothing.
Michael.
Kyle Greenfield is the one that said he was going to do it. I'm not getting this logo tattooed.
That's
on me.
fine. We'll whoever's down.
Yeah.
And that's coming at some point. So keep an eye out.
Cool.
And thank you, Jake, for helping to make that happen. There was some great questions there, though. Thank you guys for submitting those.
Absolutely.
We love seeing what you guys want to hear us talk about. So next time we post for next episode, don't be shy. Send some, even if it's not a question, by the way. Comments. We'll read comments, right?
Yeah,
We're always
absolutely.
doing questions. We could do some comments.
mailbag posts
If you
are
have
great.
something
I
you
love
just want to
reading-
say and we like it,
We'll bring it up.
Yeah,
and
dude.
we will
Send it.
definitely talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do on a podcast.
all right, that's a wrap on the mailbag. Jason, trivia challenge.
So before we get to the trivia portion of that, I want to introduce a new segment.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, this segment is called Sean Spotting.
Sean spotting.
Yes. So if you are a fan of the things that Sean Callahan does and you want to see more of him, there is an app that is available to smart TVs, smartphones. It's a streaming app. It's called Tubi, Tubi,
Oh, yeah.
Tubi. Okay.
I downloaded that like 2
right.
weeks ago.
A lot of people have it. It's gaining popularity right now. I don't know how many people know that this even exists, but Sean's episode of My Fair Brady is available on Tubi right now to watch.
God.
What is My Fair Brady?
Shout out to Uncle Richie's in
This is-
downtown Lockport.
This is such a great story. So back in the day, there was a reality TV show called My Fair Brady that was
yeah, I remember.
Christopher Knight,
Yeah.
aka Pete
And
Brady,
that hot model from
and that
Joliet.
hot model chick that he met on a different reality show. And then they ended up falling in love, getting married, etc.
Yep.
She's from Joliet.
Yep.
During the course of the first season, I want to say it's season 1, episode 7. I actually watched it the other day.
That sounds very specific. I think that's
I
exactly
think
what
it's
it was.
I think it's season 1, episode 7.
I don't recall,
She
but it was at 2
brought-
minutes and 40 seconds.
She brought, yeah, exactly. I don't have the details, but here are the details. She brought Christopher Knight to Joliet.
Oh, I remember this.
And showed him the local hangouts.
So depressing.
Which was Uncle Richie's.
Well, they came to Lockport after.
They
and
came
it's
to
like,
Lockport.
Yeah.
And
And
we're
her
at Uncle
parents,
Richie's.
her parents were like
It was-
bikers.
Yes,
and
it was the
Uncle
episode
Richie's
where
is a
Christopher Knight
bikers
was
bar.
meeting her parents for the
Yeah.
first time. Sean and Sheila happened to be there the night.
What?
and-
Well, we found out that they were going to be going there.
yeah. Quick backstory.
Yeah, we found out that they were going to be going there, and Sheila and I were hanging out with I think our friend Kyle at the time, and it was like, well, do you want to go there? And it was like, I don't know, like there's going to be cameras, and like, what are we going to do? So we just went to Uncle Richie's and hung out, and sure as shit, they got there, and there was like camera crew, and there was a reality TV show being filmed inside this tiny biker bar in downtown Lockport, known for its
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, Jesus.
Yeah.
Haven't been there in a little while. But fantastic buddies.
And also has a
Speaking of porn,
yes,
has a vending machine, claw machine, where you can like try to get porn and other fun
porn
sexy
accessories.
bits,
Yeah.
out of a claw
like
machine. So yeah, and then we were there, and it was like everybody was kind of waiting in line to like meet Peter Brady. It was ridiculous. And I got up there, and the only thing I could think of was like, this is cool, no doubt. I need to call my mom and put my mom on the phone with Peter Brady.
Even more backstory. Our mom was obsessed with Christopher Knight when she was a child.
Like grew up watching
had his
Brady
posters
Bunch,
up on the
whole
wall.
thing.
Oh,
and,
wow. Yeah.
So I gave Christopher Knight my cell phone, which was like a Razor,
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, it's like a flip
And,
phone. Yeah.
So we can
And
see
my
that
mom,
is in
my
the
mom
episode.
talked to Peter Brady. It was cool.
I
Wow.
mean, so it's included in like a montage.
I had no
segment.
idea where he was going with all of this. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And
Yeah,
now
what
we're
a
on this
build-up.
story.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
It's included in like a montage segment. It's the episode is not the Sean and Sheila episode, obviously, but if you know them, they're in it, and they're in it a bunch, and it's totally cool. So
That's
if you,
cool.
If you have Tubi, look up My Fair Brady.
That is hysterical. I
Season
have
1,
not thought
episode
about
7.
that in
They
some
are.
time.
You can see Sean looks like. What's the lead singer of Fall Out Boy? You look just like him.
Oh yeah, no, that was like long hair stage.
Patrick Stump. Patrick Stump,
Yes.
isn't that his name? Right.
Yes. I don't know.
Lead singer of
Yes,
Fall
yes.
Out Boy.
Yep.
He looks just
I
like
thought it
him.
was Pete Wentz.
Pete Wentz.
That's the
that's the other
bass
that's
player.
The bass player. But yeah, looks just like him. And Sheila looks exactly the same, even though this is probably going back 15 years.
I got a
at
hot
least
wife.
at this point.
Got a hot wife.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So
How did we end up on this subject?
No idea.
Sean
I'm
Sean
just
spotting.
thrust
It's the
back
new
on
segment.
Sean
It's the
spotting.
new segment
Hey.
that'll only be in
Which
today's
will
Sean
be
spotting.
in every episode moving
No,
forward.
it's just a one-time segment. So
Okay.
Hysterical.
enjoy it. Yeah, it was a good time. when I saw it was on there, I freaked out, and I told Maddie, I was like, well, "We're about to watch your uncle and your aunt on TV," and she was like, "What?" And it was
Oh my
hysterical.
God.
We had a great night laughing at that episode. So now we're going to move on to the trivia portion of the night, and
The mother
Trivia portion of the night.
You went high. I had to go low.
we have talked about the dog bowl for 2 episodes in a row now.
Indeed.
Last episode you mentioned the Callahan rundown. This week you mentioned how you had to move it. And it got me thinking, we've talked about our pets, but we've never really discussed our pets on the website. So
Love.
tonight's trivia portion of the night is going to be, and I'm going to include you in this, Brando. I want to know the cumulative number of pets amongst the 5 of us. Now we're going to, because the dog bowl got me thinking about it, we're only going to go cats and dogs.
The odds of you being able to get it right are high.
Correct.
So
But
answer
we're looking
quickly.
for total number of cats and dogs. I'm going to say total number of pets. But we're excluding fish, and I don't want to know
We're
birds.
excluding fish?
Yeah, just cats and dogs.
Cats
We're
and
just
dogs.
going cats and dogs, just to make it easier. Total number of cats and dogs amongst the 5 of us
Human gimp does not count.
does not count. Not for tonight's trivia portion
Right,
of the night,
right.
but you've
Giving
alluded
him
to what
ideas
next week's
now.
is going to
Great.
be. So thanks
Sweet.
a lot,
Okay.
Jackass.
No problem. Sorry.
So that's tonight's trivia portion of the night. It is brought to you by Bag of Tricks, as always, but it is also brought to you by Perfect Putt 360. Now, Perfect Putt 360 is a putting practice app designed to mimic tournament type pressure in a game that makes putting practice fun. Download Perfect Putt 360 today in the App Store and Google Play. Hashtag every putt counts. And remember, whoever wins tonight's trivia portion of the night is going to get Perfect Putt 360 for free on their smartphone.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
I can't wait for you. And I don't. It's going to be okay that we do it later.
It was
But
going to start
you-
tonight, but then this
Yes,
was way more
like,
important to be here at work.
As we
for us.
get closer to better weather and
Yeah.
more closer to the season, I can't wait for Jason to actually be playing disc golf.
Yeah.
Even if it's on a smaller scale.
Right. I'll start with a smaller scale.
Smaller.
Smaller
Can't
scale.
wait. It's going to be so awesome.
And we'll get bigger from there. But that is tonight's.
That is also what she said.
Well, then that takes us to Pinned It, brought to you by discgolfpins.com.
Discgolfpins.com. Come on, Nina.
Pinned It is a segment where we talk about moments of the show that were just mwah,
We just nailed it.
perfect moments of
Pinned
this
it.
episode. A nice moment. It could be something that somebody completely fucked up. Whatever you guys feel was a mwah, pinned it moment of this episode.
Can I go first?
Sean, please.
Every time we bring up men's health, I feel like we are truly reaching the brains of young men that listen to our podcast, that are really evaluating their lives and how they're handling things. And I can't wait for us to talk about it more, and how every situation, whether it's Dan Schlitter running a club or it's Brando starting a brewery, that there are aspects of that tie into everything that you do. And I'm so proud of us for talking about it, and I want more people to be more proud about talking about that stuff. It's awesome.
Pinned it.
I don't have a better one.
No, that's awesome.
You pinned it.
Yeah.
Booyah.
I agree. I love that.
I think this barrel-aged sour pinned it for me.
Pinned it.
So
I did taste that.
yeah,
It is very good.
it is great.
I think just being here, talking, having fun in the evening, which normally I'm like exhausted from the day and I'm just like on my couch trying to quit it. I think that pinned it for me, man. Just being all your company means a lot. Thank you for having
What a
me.
guy.
We're
Wow.
getting real sweet here. Thank you, Brandon.
Jason's crying right there.
I just wasn't expecting to feel this way.
I came here to talk, not to
There's got to be
feel.
moments that I'm overlooking, but there's been a lot. I want to say having Ryan Aquino and Lauren Lakeberg here to help
Yeah.
capture this, the decision to bring them on board, pinned it.
Pinned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jason reached out to Lauren. Actually, Ryan is the one who reached out to us. So, Ryan, thank you. But yeah, having you guys here help take this to another level. Pinned it.
Cool.
But what if we ask you guys to do it every time now, though? They're both laughing.
Yeah.
They're both laughing.
Don't do that.
Thank you to discgolfpins.com for your support. Come check them
People,
out, guys.
I will say that people have been asking about them at
Oh,
the show.
good. Yeah. Good.
So-
Not only can you pick up those pins,
All hype is good hype.
You can get your own custom pins made on their website. It's a super easy process, and the quality of the pins, they can't be beat. So if you have your own brand, your own logo, whatever, something you want to pin for, check out discgolfpins.com. So this is the part where we give you guys a preview of next episode, and spoiler alert, we have no plan for next episode, but you know what? We always figure it out.
Yep. Nothing's changed since last season.
Yeah. We were going to come
We're
into the
just
season
winging
way
it
more
every
prepared
day.
than last season, but
We're always
here we
winging
are.
it,
But
we
even
always pin
even
it.
our winging it is pretty fucking solid.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
were
feel
thinking
good about
like,
it.
let's have Brandon on, and then we did it, and now we've peaked. What are we going to do?
yeah.
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll see.
Thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate you. Thank you for participating in the mailbag and for sending us your comments and your DMs and all that stuff. Makes us love doing this so much more. I mean, we love a lot about it, but having the interaction with you guys, that just takes it to another level. So thank you all. We love you.
And if you don't already yet, follow us on Instagram at Unstable Discourse, or follow the hashtag Unstable Discourse.
Follow us, like us, subscribe, drop a review. Those we're always going to ask you for reviews. That goes a long way. Whatever you guys can do to help us reach more people is awesome. So until next time, guys, keep it tight, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Good night.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Listen to Unstable Discourse on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or right from Buzzsprout.com. And if you have the time, leave us a rating and review. It helps the podcast get to more listeners.
Unstable Discourse is a top secret studios production.
Brando's House of Awesomeness.